Okay, folks, this is Dave Wood, and I'm talking to you from my home office up in Escazú, Costa Rica. I'm excited because this is going to be training number one of High Ticket Academy. The reason why I decided to make this product in particular actually came from initially a conversation that I was having with a guy who lives in my house. There's a kid who I met when he was actually 14 online, and he'd hit me up asking for a job. And this is like way back. I just got started on the internet. I just started making a lot of money, and he said, "Hey, I need some work. You got something I could do?" And I said, "Sure. What are you good at?" And he said, "I'm good at writing articles." And so I said, "Well, I need somebody to write articles for me because I'm sick of doing it all myself. So I'd be happy to have you write articles on my blog. And tell me a little bit about yourself." And he said he was 14 years old. So I said, "Whoa, hold on a second. Let's get your mom on the phone and make sure that's okay with her first." And so his mom got on the phone and said it was okay if he wrote articles, and I paid him. So I've been paying this guy to write articles for me since he's been 14. And he came down here to Costa Rica to just kind of like live in my house, and so I could kind of help him with some stuff. And just the other week he was talking about one of his friends that he has online who builds an entire business around selling high-ticket stuff. And I kind of got, picked his brain a little bit and asked what his friend does, and his friend was making, I think, $300,000 or $400,000 a year. And essentially what he does is he has an application process that sells a front-end information product, and then he gets on the phone with people and sells them a $10,000 or $20,000 or $40,000 how to sell high-ticket course where they come and they fly to his house, and then he shows them how to sell high-ticket courses. That's what he teaches them how to do. And I got thinking about that because I've been watching on Facebook, and I've been watching what Tony Robbins is doing and what a lot of the big name marketers are doing. And what people are really, one of the things that's really hot right now just in the marketplace in general is people teaching people how to sell higher level education, higher ticket products, and therefore earn higher level commissions. Well, then I was actually on a live stream because I've been out on live streams talking about just the vision and where we're going in Empowernetwork as a team, like 5 nights a week or something like that. And I've been out there, and one of the things that I notice is a major deficit, not just within our own organizations, but also in a lot of our customers and with people that are in the marketplace, is there's really not a lot of high-quality education on how to sell high-ticket products. And because of that, a lot of people, for example, in my team, we're going to make this obviously applicable to anything. I'm just giving you examples from my life. A lot of people in my team don't really have the skill set that they need to really make all the money they want from all the products that we offer at Empowernetwork. And also, people in other organizations, they're missing out on, I would consider, the vast majority of the money that they can make in their organization because they do not sell anything beyond low-ticket stuff. And so that just got me thinking about what's going on in the marketplace right now, really a need that people have. And I said, what if we taught people in Empowernetwork and also offered it to our customers here in the short future? What if we taught people the skill sets that they need to be able to get on the phone, to be able to put together a process and close a $10,000 or $15,000 or $20,000 sale? What if we taught people those skills, and rather than teaching, rather than charging $10,000 or $15,000 for it, which is what everybody in the marketplace is doing, we did a better job, we were more efficient at it, and we just gave it, we just literally let people steal it from us because we want to stick with our mission, which is providing the most value in the marketplace we possibly can for the price people are paying. And that was the idea that gave rise to High Ticket Academy, which is what you're watching right now. You're watching training number one, which is we are going to teach you the skill sets that you need to sell high ticket stuff, how to do it, the mindset behind it, how to help people come up with money to buy more higher priced, higher valued items. And that's really why we're here today. Now, here's the cool thing. We've had this offer out there in the marketplaase for, I think, 4 days. And we had no pre-sale process, we had no official launch process, and we've already sold, I think, 3,200 of these just by getting out there and saying, we're going to teach you these skills. So that shows me something. What that shows me is those of you on here, those of you who bought the product, not only did you make a good decision, not only are you going to get the best education at the best price, but people really, 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 really want to know how to do this. And the best part is you're going to learn how starting tonight. And so that being said, that's my intro. This product is going to be, I'm going to come on and give intros, give my thoughts. It's going to be primarily orchestrated by Aaron Rashkin. Those of you who don't know Aaron, I met Aaron for the first time about 2.5 years ago. We were both in an internet marketing competition. This was before Empowernetwork existed. I kind of like placed in the top of this competition. I can't even barely remember it anymore. And we'd won this trip with Mike Dillard and Mark Hoverson and all of these people that are kind of like the demigods in the online network marketing space. And we went out to Austin, Texas for this boat party to hang out. And I'll never forget, and I think this is one of the funniest things ever, this is my first exposure to Aaron. I'd kind of seen his websites online, and I'd known that he'd sold high-ticket stuff, and I'd heard about his wife, Sophia. I'd seen him actually in the full-page magazine articles that had been written about him in Home Business Magazine and other industry publications. I'd actually heard him speak once and listened to a couple of his audios. I had known that he actually was one of the foremost and most influential trainers on how to close and how to influence people on the phone that exists in the online business space, especially among marketers, because the way that we do it as marketers is a little bit different than the way people do it who are trying to prospect their grandma and their aunt and their neighbors. And he just has the ability to do that a little bit different. But so I walk on this houseboat party, and I see this guy, who looks like Hercules with his shirt off. And there's like 10 people just kind of like standing around him, just listening to him tell stories. And I just kind of like walk by not paying attention and start talking to somebody else. And then I walk to another deck on the boat. And then I turn around, and then there's this guy again with like 20 people standing around him. And he's just sitting there and he's telling stories about selling high-ticket stuff. And then I kind of like, stop paying attention. And then after a while, we slide off into the water into this lake out in Austin, Texas. And we're in the lake, and I look over like this, and there's this guy again, and this time there's like 15 people floating around him with these little floaty devices in the water, just standing around listening to him tell stories. One of the ways that you know an alpha leader is that when they're there, there's always people standing around. And I said, who is this guy? I got to figure out who this is and get to know him, because I was kind of new in that space. And so here's a long story short. I actually ran into Aaron in the airport, headed home back to Costa Rica, and I opened up my back office and showed him my lead flow. He opened up his Aweber account and showed me his lead flow. And we started talking about the way that we were building a business. And that was the start of something that turned into a magical relationship. And here's what I've seen with Aaron. Number one, he's sold more high-ticket stuff than anybody that I know on the phone. Most people who do sell a lot of high-ticket stuff don't do their own personal phone work. They outsource it, and they don't really know how to do it. It's kind of like back in 2011, before we launched Empowernetwork, I remember standing in a room and I was selling courses on how I had done what I had done. See, most people who build businesses and they sell how-to products, they sell how-to products on stuff that they've never done. They're like, how to build an exploding downline. And it's like, well, what's the biggest downline you've ever built? And if you ask them that question, they kind of turn red a little bit because the answer is like 10 people, right? But they're selling a course on how to explode your downline, right? Well, I was standing up there and I was selling a course on how to recruit and build a business and be free at the same time. And I remember there's a guy named Dave Schwinn who's a copywriting gangster that I know, known him for a long time, and he came up to the front of the room and he said this. He said, I'll tell you why you guys should buy right now. See, most people who are selling courses are just selling courses. But this guy has never made money selling courses. This is his first time. Literally, he's teaching you what he does to make all his money. And he actually does it. That's why you should buy it. Everybody just kind of like flooded into the room filling out applications. He understands copywriting. That's Aaron with this subject. So I want you guys to pay attention, because this isn't just a high-paid skill. This is the highest-paid skill that exists. It is the easiest way to earn income quickly, right? Is that a guarantee you're going to earn income quickly? No, look at our income disclosure. Obviously not. What this does is it is the formula. It is the skill set. It is the skill set that if you master the skill set, if you go and apply it, you're going to have to work. But when you do, it is by far the fastest way to generate revenue and income quickly, because it allows you to tap into a market that most of you are not tapping into in your business. And so with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Aaron Rashkin to be participating in the discussion. And like you guys, I've got a notepad and a pen, and I'm ready to take some notes. So if you're excited, just tell us you're excited in the comments. I'm going to be monitoring the comments here, and we'll feed into some questions a little bit later on as we go into the evening. And this is going to be training number 1. So with that being said, over to you, Aaron.
All right. Thanks so much, Dave. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
All right, great. Yeah, I just want to make sure my connection's good. I've got, we have 2 houses here, and there's 2 different connections, so my computer bounces between one house and the other. So sometimes I'm like a little bit off on my voice and my lips. So anyway, good to see everybody tonight. What a great looking panel we have. I know that there's a lot of great information, a lot of great content that's going to flow tonight. I'm super excited too, Dave, because I mentioned this the other night. I haven't ever really talked about this. The only people that have ever seen a lot of the presentation, a lot of the content, and a lot of the training that I'm going to be sharing with you guys over the next 3 Hangouts, at least from my perspective, coming from my end, because we're going to be hearing from Vic and Shannon and Tam and also Chris, and we might have another couple, special guests pop in here over the next, three nights that we're working with you guys. But I've never really showed this to anyone except for the people that were investing, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $40,000 with me. And see, that was the level of income, or should I say the capital, that was required by the customer, right, when they bought the product. But we actually sold a lot more of that to our customers because we had our own events as well. And one of the reasons that I bought my next door neighbor's house and turned it into the office that it is today is because, we talked about this the other night. People want more. People want more. They want more value. They want more quality. They want more personal time. And so we sold all of what our company would offer, and they would still want to buy more from us because of the connection and the relationship and the value that we delivered to them inside our product and inside our community and inside the training and inside all of, that relationship that we developed, with our customers, our clients, and our team. And so, this is really exciting for me to be able to share all this because I'm going to be pulling out my pen and touch on our next Hangout, and I'm going to actually take you right through the same presentation that I used to have days of $70,000. I had a $70,000. It was actually like an entire day that I was doing this marathon, but I had a $77,000 weekend. Most of that came in one Saturday afternoon. And I did it from a hotel room unexpectedly. I didn't even know that I was going to wind up doing that. And I'm going to share with you exactly what I did and how I did it to have a $70,000 day. And we picked up a little bit of the breadcrumbs later on the next day, on the Sunday after this Saturday afternoon. So we had a $77,000 weekend. And I'm gonna take you through that in our next Hangout. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit more about really understanding the power of high ticket and really, why it's such a powerful, way to sell. But at the same time, you don't have to just use it to sell high ticket. You can use it to sell anything to anyone, anywhere in the world. Okay, I'm going to say that again. You can sell to anything, or say you can sell anything to anyone, anywhere in the world using these strategies. And it's really not a secret. These are not, secrets that have been passed down over the years or through the, generations of people that were in sales. This is stuff that you probably have already heard or know, but you have never heard it framed the way we're going to put it to you over the next several nights that we're together here this week and next. So I want to share with you quickly before we get into any real deep conversation. I want to share with you a little story. I talked about this the other night, Dave. I was in MLM. I had been in MLM since, 1815 or something like that. I don't know. I've been in the industry for a long time. I got started actually in 1991, and I first found out about network marketing in my Sunday night fraternity chapter meeting. And I started a fraternity in college. I had a bunch of friends that were from the East Coast. I'm from New York originally. You can probably tell from my accent if you listen carefully. I shook it because I moved to Baltimore, Maryland for 6 years and went to college. And then I moved to San Diego for 10 years, lived at the beach. And then I moved here to Colorado. I've been here for now 10 years. And so I don't have the accent anymore, but when I lived on the East Coast and I went to school in Baltimore, Maryland, I didn't care for the fraternities on campus. So I did the next best thing, or should I say the best thing you do when you don't really feel that you want to spend time with those people. You do what Dave and Dave did, and you start your own deal. And I started a fraternity with a few of my closest friends, and sure enough, we grew that little group of 10 into a team of over 70 guys over the next year and a half or so. And one of the things that we had to do in our first year was we had to donate money to different charities and philanthropical causes and so forth. And so we raised money with Red Cross. We did walkathons and we did car washes, and those kinds of things. And we ran out of ideas. And a very good friend of ours, who was in another fraternity, said, "Hey, my dad has a friend that's making a lot of money. He says we can do this. You guys can do this as a fraternity." And so, we brought him into our Sunday night, chapter meeting, and, when he pulled out the whiteboard and he started drawing those circles on the whiteboard and calling those circles names like Bob and Mary, right? I saw the structure of a business for the very first time. I had never really looked at what a business looked like, from a bird's eye view. And here's a little side story, there's a book, I forget the name of it now. I read it when I was living in San Diego, going back 20 years now. And I read this book, I forget, it was the story of Sam Walton and how he started Walmart. And he and his brother used to go up in a little charter plane, and they would fly around over different cities to find the location of the flow of traffic. They would go to the local airports, and they would fly around different cities and clusters of residents in different major metropolis areas so that they could see where to put their next Walmart store, where they wanted to position it strategically in front of all the traffic. And so, I'd never seen that kind of I'd never seen a business overview on paper. And so when this guy started drawing circles on the whiteboard, I kind of felt like Sam Walton, like looking at everything kind of come together and get clear for me that I could make $10,000 a month. Remember, I was still in college. I was 20 or 21 years old. And, I wanted to make $10,000 a month without having a job, without having a boss. And so I bought that story, hook, line, and sinker. I actually swallowed the hook. And, there's an old saying that, your success is not about you being in network marketing. It's about network marketing getting into you, right? It's about network marketing being in you, right? You're not just in a company, but you want that company in you. You want that, that culture, that community, all of the people that make up what Empowernetwork is. We like this company could change its name and it could go out of business tomorrow if something drastic happened. And yet we would stick together as a team. That's when you know that network marketing is in you and that the people around you are really what you're here for. And that's why this company is so appropriately named Empowernetwork, because I've never seen a group of people that raise each other up and lift each other up like this in my life. Absolutely incredible. In 23 years, I've never been around a group of people that are so inspiring that if Dave and Dave decided to take a long walk off a short pier, I think we'd still do really well. I think we would still kill it in home business and in networking in the internet marketing space. The amount of leadership here is absolutely impeccable. So I'm in this room on a Sunday night with my fraternity brothers, and this guy comes in drawing circles on the whiteboard, and when I saw that I could have the $10,000 a month income by helping Bob and Mary, right, and without a boss, without a job, without a commute, I used to drive to work in the morning when it was dark at 5 o'clock, and I would come home at 11 o'clock at night when it was dark. I was leaving in the morning, coming home at night when it was pitch black out. So I decided it was even better if I would just sleep at the gym. So I slept in the gym. Some people, they call themselves gym rats. Well, I was a hobo. I slept in the gym. I didn't leave the gym. I worked there and I slept there. That's what I did. That's my commitment and the dedication and the passion I had for what I was doing, because I wanted to be there first thing in the morning. They say that the best networkers are the first to arrive and the last to leave, and I wanted to be that trainer for my clients. And so I would do whatever I had to do to make sure I was there in the gym, accessible to them as often as possible. And see, I bought that story, hook, line, and sinker, $10,000 a month. No job, no boss, no commute, no sleeping in the gym, no uniform, no clipboard, no little collared T-shirt with my shorts. You know, I was the guy that if you go to a health club, you see running around with his client counting backwards while they, you know, the client lifts weights, right? That was me. Well, what happened was I was so passionate and so committed to my success and to the success of other people that I didn't know, I wasn't smart enough to say no. And I would join company after company after company. And at first I thought it was the name of my company, then I thought it was my product, then I thought it was the pay plan, then I thought it was the tools, then I thought it was the system, then I thought it was my name. You know, I couldn't come up with more excuses. I was looking for some reason that I couldn't make sales, that I couldn't make it work, that I couldn't be successful. And I exhausted everything. And when I ran out of excuses, I realized that, well, I'll tell you what happened. I went into an office one day where I was working in San Diego. I was working with this incredibly successful woman. I'm not going to share the whole story because I'm going to tell a lot of this next on our next hangout, which will be on Tuesday night or Thursday night. But I went into her office, and I said to her, her name was Sherry, and Tracy knows her, and I said, you know, now remember, I'm $60,000 in debt, and I walked into Sherry's office, and I said, hey, Sherry, I got a great idea. And Sherry looks at me, and she's multimillionaire, making multiple six figures per month, has the house on the hill overlooking the ocean, beautiful Rolls Royces, you know, all the toys, all the financial security, had investments. Her future was secure. And I went in and I said, hey, Sherry, I got a great idea. And she looked at me and she said, Aaron, your ideas make you broke. My ideas make me rich. Who do you think we should listen to today? And she turns and walks out. and she literally, I stood there like this. I couldn't believe she said that. My mouth was like a donut hole. I was so blown away by what she said, but she was right. And she told me, she said, you know what you should do? She said, you should go to the bathroom right now. She said, go stare at yourself in the mirror. You'll be looking at both the problem and the solution. And I did it. I went into the bathroom and I stood in the mirror for about 15 minutes and I literally cried my eyes out. There I was in my $99 suit with my clip-on tie, looking all cool with my little shiny metallic. And I'll tell you, it was the most humbling experience in my life. But it was also the most powerful because it allowed me to take full responsibility and accountability for myself and for my actions and the results or lack of results that I was getting in my business and in my life. From my relationships to the people that I was attracting to me, you know, through my prospecting efforts, through my conversations with leads, the people that I was connecting with, no matter where I was. And it was really humbling for me. And so I tell you all that to tell you this. I was really committed, and I still am really committed, and I'm passionate because I love people. I love helping people. I also make, you know, I like to make a lot of money too, don't get me wrong. Just because we love to work with people doesn't mean there's anything wrong with getting rich in the process. And so I always had that as a part of my dream, was to become successful. And what happened for me was, you know, I went through all these different experiences, all these years, and there's so many stories. If you guys will let me share, I will tell you story after story after story because I have so many that I've never really put out there. And, you know, some of them you've heard and a lot of them you haven't. So I was so passionate and so committed that I wasn't going to quit network marketing. And it just so happens that at the time, I didn't know any other model besides multi-level. That was the model that I was in. And multi-level marketing can be very, very successful. And we did well. We did okay. You know, we got our check up into the 4 figures. But it was never really a big opportunity because I always found that I was spinning my wheels. And the biggest reason that I found I was spinning my wheels is because that particular niche, that MLM niche, it happened to attract a lot of broke thinkers. People that really didn't have, you know, the kind of income around them that I wanted to have around me. And so, you know, they say water seeks its own level, and you'll always attract people to you based on who you who you are to yourself, right? How you perceive yourself, your own self-esteem, your own self-image, your own self-confidence, and you'll become the people, right? You'll become the people that you surround yourself with most. And here's the thing. You want to transform. You want to evolve, right? See, if you don't evolve, you revolve. And so you become the books you read, the CDs and audios you listen to, the DVDs you watch, the videos you invest in, right? The events that you attend, the hangouts that you spend time really paying close attention to, right? And so make sure you have a pen and paper here this next few nights with us. You never want to leave your future or your fortune to your memory. So you want to take notes, keep a notepad or a text edit or something to scribble on, right? Because you want to make sure you take down as much information as possible, because that becomes your education and eventually it becomes your inspiration. And so here I was, committed as hell. I was going to, you know, make it to the top or die trying. And I was surrounding myself with people who didn't really have a lot of money. I would take people to the weekly, you know, overviews and do in-home presentations. At one point, Sophia, my wife, and I, we did over 40 home parties per year in our multi-level marketing business. And after doing that for 60 months, 5 years, okay, 5 years of surrounding myself in that environment, we found the internet. We knew it existed, of course, but we got online for the very first time. I'll never forget. It was actually about 2 in the morning. And I know some of you guys at 2 in the morning, when your wife walks downstairs and you're on the computer, you know, you try to, like, you know, put your computer away. But I was actually looking at videos on YouTube, and I came across this dude who was a Domino's pizza delivery guy. Some of you may know who it is. And I was watching this video of this young kid that was probably like 10 years younger than me, right? Wet behind the ears and, you know, pretty new to the business. And here he was making 6 figures a month. And here I am with, you know, a ton of confidence, and I was working on my self-esteem and my self-image, and, you know, learning how to write and learning how to speak, and, you know, really, and this is only 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago now, right? 5.5 years ago, this is where I was in my life, was we were making a whopping $4,000 a month in our MLM business, and here I am looking at these young Domino's pizza delivery guys that, you know, were using systems on the internet to market and sell information, and here they were having 5-figure days, and I was struggling to pay my bills, my 2, you know, mortgages, you know, insurances. We had 2 kids. You know, we had a baby boy at that time. He was only a few months old, and I was frustrated beyond belief. And I realized that I needed to do 2 things, and I needed to do them fast. Number 1, I needed a new mentor. I needed somebody who was going to teach me what I didn't know, and teach me what I thought I didn't know, because I thought I knew everything, right? I think a lot of times we think we know everything, and one of the things I learned over the years is that the most dangerous words in the English language are the words, I already know that. So you might hear me repeat myself. Sometimes I spit on my computer, so watch out, right? I don't just give you the news, I'll give you the weather, but, you know, I might say things that you might have already heard. But as soon as you start saying to yourself and outwardly to other people, oh, I already know that, what you're doing is you're subconsciously shutting down your receptors and your receivers for new knowledge, new information, and new inspiration. And so I learned the hard way that those words were. So I made sure that I wasn't going to use those words. And I remember, you know, for a long time I heard the saying that when you're green, you're growing, and when you're ripe, you're rotten, or you're starting to rot, right? When you're green, you're growing. When you're ripe, you're rotting. And that was so true. And that's why just 5.5 years ago, our network marketing income, right, our MLM income was $4,000 a month. And, you know, it just so happened on Christmas, right before Christmas in 2008, literally just a little over 5 years ago, Sophia and I had been on the internet for a few months. We were fiddling around, learning how to do lots of new things. And, you know, I showed this in the 15K formula. I showed how I broadcasted to my leads when I only had like 12 leads. A lot of those came in off of a social networking site, not Facebook. I wasn't even on Facebook yet. But, you know, we were doing a lot of research and a lot of training and investing in ourselves, knowing that we were going to make this work. I said this the other night on a hangout with Dave Wood. I think it was last night. And one of our members quoted me on this on Facebook. I said, what did I say? Okay, totally lost my train of thought there. But I did say that, oh yeah, it's not about an attitude, right? It's not about your positive mental attitude. It's about your positive mental expectation, right? You get what you expect out of life. You get what you expect out of your business. I'll give you an example. People don't go on a diet unless they believe they can lose at least 1 pound. Right? My good friend Vic just got on P90X and has been kicking ass, lost all this weight, looks like a GQ model now, coming to Miami next week with a washboard abs, right, Vic? And I know Vic would have never invested in P90X if he didn't think that he could lose 25 or 30 pounds of fat, right? You wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't think you'd have a chance at being successful selling high-ticket products and services and events and so forth. So, you know, we don't do anything unless we really believe we have an opportunity for success, right? So it's not about our attitude all the time, because I could have a shitty attitude, right? And we all can have shitty attitudes, right? But it's what we expect out of our business. It's what we expect out of our relationships. It's what we expect out of life. And you're going to either be, I'm going to tell you straight up, I mean, if it's okay, I'll be quite honest. I want to be, you know, honest and candid with you. You're going to be either a winner or you're going to be a loser. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to be a loser in life. It means that you're either going to be a winner to the opportunity or you're going to be a loser to the opportunity. And what makes the difference between you being a winner and being a loser is it's all about what you expect to happen. Now, you can't, you know, a lot of people say, oh, just fake it till you make it, right? Just fake it till you make it. But the truth is that you cannot fake your subconscious mind. You cannot fake your subconscious mind. I'll give you an example of how powerful your subconscious mind is, right? Think about a jumbo jet. Think about that 747, or think about that luxury Lear private jet that you want to hop on and fly down to Miami here next week to be with 5,000 of us down there at the Freedom 2014. Think about that incredible airplane. Think about those jet engines, right? These giant jet engines that could literally lift this, 400-ton piece of metal off the ground, right? Think about how powerful that plane is. Well, I want you to think about that as being your subconscious. If that thing steers off course and it gets out of control, think about the destruction that it could do. Now, here's what I also want you to think about. I want you to think about the pilot on that plane and how little that guy is. Maybe 180, 190, 200 pounds. Maybe she's only 150 pounds or 140. Hopefully she's 140 or 150 pounds, and she's all woman, and she's a fraction of the strength and the size and the power of that jumbo jet, yet she can have full control over it. That is your conscious mind. Okay? So the jet, the plane itself, is your subconscious, and the pilot, right, male or female, is the conscious mind. And although they differ in size and the type of destruction that can be done if they're out, if they're out of control, think about how the conscious mind can command the subconscious mind. Okay? And that's why you read books. That's why you listen to CDs. That's why you get on Hangouts. That's why you invest in your education. That's why you come to events. That's why you model successful people. That's why you mentor with them. That's why you spend quality time with them. You get in their shadow and you work directly with them, hoping to serve them in some way, shape, or form so that they're willing to serve you back with their greatness. And when you learn how to harness the power of your subconscious mind, because you reconditioned it with the conscious, you can achieve and accomplish whatever level of success you came here for. And so I knew that I had to reprogram my subconscious mind, because I would read the books and listen to the tapes and go to the meetings and go to the events, but yet at the same time I was still attracting people who were broke, they were busted, and they were disgusted. And I knew for things to change, I had to change. And so I decided on the night that we got that call from our MLM company, when they told us that they knew we were marketing on the internet, yet our intentions were to learn how to build our multi-level marketing business using the strategies of the internet, and of course make an extra side stream of income, because we didn't know any better at the time, but that was a little extra income for us to put into the advertising for our multi-level marketing, right? So we had great intentions. We're going to build this MLM business, right, until the cows came home, and the company calls us and says, "You're violating our company's guidelines. We do not allow this type of marketing on the internet." And we're scratching our heads thinking, we're here to build your juice company. Are you not picking that up, that we're trying to make money so we can build our MLM? We've been with you for 5 years. They pranced us across stages and gave us trips to all different places and talked about how we were the leaders and part of this big leadership team, and we were of the most successful people in the company. I call that big hat, no cattle, right? We had a huge team of 10,000 people, yet our check was $4,100 when we resigned the following day. And when that company called us and said, we're calling to tell you to stop marketing on the internet, we thought to ourselves, not only are we surrounded by a bunch of people who are broke, busted, and disgusted, but we're also in a company that has poverty consciousness. They did not want to allow us to spread our own wings and fly. And so we resigned from that company, and it was the best thing to ever happen to us. It was the best thing to ever happen to us, simply because it gave us an opportunity to jump first and build our wings on the way down. And we didn't have another income after that. That was it. They cut our little $4,000 income off, and that was what we used to cover our monthly expenses, our mortgages, and our insurances, and all the things that we have, our monthly bills and things, and food expenses. That's where we were living at that time. That's what our means were, right? And so we got started on borrowed funds, right? We borrowed money to get in. We didn't have $20,000 sitting on our coffee table at the time, so we had to borrow funds on several different credit cards, and we were able to get started in our very first high-ticket product line, and it was single-handedly the best decision we ever made, because we put ourselves in a different space, not just consciously, right, choosing that product to buy, but we subconsciously kind of gathered together everything that we had been reading about and listening and watching and all these different trainings that we had been to over the years. Everything came together at one time, and by making that investment into our new high-ticket product line, it was subconsciously programmed for us all that time so we could have our biggest breakthrough to success. Our very first full month after we got, after that, when we resigned from that MLM company, our very first full month, this was January of 2009, our very first full month in this new high-ticket program, we had a $42,000 month. That was our very first full month. It was January of 2009. We had been in that business for 5 months. The first 4 months were very part-time. We were ramping up, learning how to drive traffic, how to capture leads, how to make some sales. We were making some, sales, of the low-ticket products at that time. But our very first investment into high-ticket, first full month, $42,000. Second full month, which was our second month, right? This is February of 2009. Man, I'm having some flashbacks right now. Over $60,000. Went to 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 95, 100,000. We peaked at 100,000. We had many months, probably, 15 months or so, at around 100, a little over 100,000. We had, some bigger months than that, 115, 120,000. And then we bellied out at roughly like $80,000 to $90,000. We were at that consistently for a long time, and what happened was in that summer, right, summer of 2009, we were slapped on Google. We were advertising on Google, doing a lot of paid advertising. It's funny, a lot of people, I posted this the other day. I posted my blog results from 2 of my first blogs back in 2008. And I had over 160,000. Now, this is not a lot if you're a big blogger, but I had 160,000 unique visitors to my little, blogs. And this was not paid traffic. This was through blogging. And so, but our paid traffic got shut down in the summer of 2009. We woke up one morning, we had no impressions, we had no clicks, and we had almost no leads. Like, we had a few leads trickle in. And Sophia, I thought, was going to have a heart attack. And, they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. So, I tightened up my belt buckle, I reached down and made sure I was still there. And you know what? I found that we were going to be okay because we had learned some incredible strategies. And, we realized now that we had this, skill set, and we had this mindset of big ticket, high commissions, 5-figure commissions, and we were ready to go to work like our lives depended on it. And even without paid traffic, no Google, right? We had no impressions, no traffic, no leads. We were able to continue doing what we were doing. We started diversifying into different types of paid traffic. We got in the magazine. You probably saw us in, a magazine here and there. We got onto a couple, big, traffic forum sites and networking sites and so forth. Started contributing articles and press releases and videos and blogging and commenting. It was almost like Facebook. It wasn't Facebook. I got on Facebook at that time, created a profile, started meeting up with people, started looking at how to friend other people and can make connections, and $60,000 a month was what we ran in our ad. We didn't want to make it seem like we were making more money than was even fathomable at that time, but we wound up making many millions of dollars because we were in high ticket. And had we been in multi-level marketing all these years, in the last 5 years, I can tell you we would have evolved. We would have definitely improved and gotten better at what we were doing. But there's nothing better than making 10 years worth of multi-level marketing downline commissions in one single day and putting that money to good use. You can literally take care of your family for a year off of a couple of sales, and you could do a couple of sales in a single day. So think about that. Think about putting a tremendous chunk of success and income into your bank account with just a couple of sales. A handful of sales sets you up for an entire year. So I just want to share that story, Dave. I know we've got some great people. Chris is hanging on the line. Shannon, I'd love to hear from you. Vic, Tam, you guys probably have some great stories as well. And so I'm going to just kind of pass the baton off and mute myself out and take a sip of my chai tea and butterscotch schnapps and listen in and enjoy. And I'll come back on a little bit, and I want to talk again before we wrap up here, Dave. So I'll pass it back over to you, my man.
Yeah, good stuff, man. I'm going to just kind of pass the ball around, and so that's why we're here. We're here to hear the stories of the transformations and then how to do it and how to apply it in our lives. And so one of the things that really struck me when you were talking is something that we're always talking about, and not a lot of people will really get this, but we're always talking about it all the time. And that's that you can't really fight your unconscious mind, right? A lot of people, they're in their business, and what they're doing is they're making decisions, and they're acting consciously like they're going to go out there and make a bunch of money, but they're doing things that are sabotaging themselves. For example, I mean, one of the things that you talked about doing was, you guys made the decision to invest in a high-ticket course. And it was the best decision that you had ever made. And you didn't have the money to do it. You had to borrow the money to do it. You had to figure out how to come up with the money in order to do it. But the second that you made that decision, that you were going to invest in your education, the second you made that decision that you were willing to put your money on the line, it opened up a different world inside, because this is what happens with people that I've noticed. And I want you guys to understand this, not just from a perspective of watching yourself, but also as watching the people that are coming through your funnels and watching what they're doing. And you're going to find it really fascinating, because the second you stop doing this, you're going to see other people doing it everywhere. And that's where people really, what they're doing is they're dipping their toe in the water in their business, right? They get involved like in Empowernetwork, they get involved in an MLM, they get involved in a high-ticket company, and really what they do is they get in at the lowest possible commitment that they could possibly be in, and they say, when it works, then I'm going to increase to the next level, right? I remember getting involved in a company in 2007, and I got involved at the lowest level possible, and I said, when it works, I'm going to upgrade to the next level. When it works, I'm going to get there. But what you're really doing when you're doing that is you're having a poverty consciousness. What you're really saying to yourself, and I want you to hear me and I want you to pay attention, what you're really saying to yourself is, this is not going to work. And I'm demonstrating to my unconscious mind that it is not going to work by not being willing to invest in myself and my future. I don't believe it'll work. That's what you're saying. And when you are willing to stretch yourself, when to make a commitment to make decisions that are difficult to make, you're saying the opposite. What you're saying is, not only is this going to work, it is my only option. And I'm making it happen now. I remember getting started in a business and I had to come up with an investment to get to the next level. And the second somebody put me on the line and they said, David, I won't talk to you again unless you upgrade, I did it within 24 hours when I'd been making excuses about the money for months. But they put me on the line and I did it like this. Well, the second I did that, here's what happened inside. What happened inside was I said, this is going to work right now because it has to. That's it, period. And so I want you guys to really say, really hear that it's the decisions that you make that are sending messages to your unconscious mind on what you are and what you're not going to do. And my question for you is, regardless of whether you're in Empower, whether you're in another company, whether you're just marketing on the internet, are you really committed to your business, and have you really made a decision to do this, and have you really demonstrated that through your actions? So that's just my 2 cents here, and I'll let you just turn it back over to you to kind of toss the ball around and lead the discussion with different people on here. But I really enjoyed listening to that because it's, again, a confirmation. Those who make a decision have the world around them transform. So. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, I've heard for years, and this is what our mentors taught us when we were kids. New networkers and new entrepreneurs. The fortune's in the follow-up, and I agree to an extent. But the fortune's not in the follow-up; it's in the decision, and it's not your prospect's decision; it's your decision. And it's not even your decision, because decision means you're cutting off all other options. What's more powerful than a decision is to choose. Choose to be successful because you want success. And it doesn't have to just mean money, although there's nothing wrong with that. But when you know that you want something, that's a choice, right? And so when you choose to make powerful decisions, now you've got all the power. Now you've got that momentum on your side. That's personal power. That's really allowing yourself to succeed, giving yourself permission, right, to be the master of your own future and the master of your own fate. And that's what I see a lot of people struggling with, especially in high ticket, is they haven't made a choice that they're going to market high ticket products. So it's really important to look at each of the pieces of this training, this high ticket academy over the next several webinars and hangouts, and realize that over the next week and a half or so with us, and I think our third one is on Tuesday night. But get very, very clear on what you want out of selling high ticket products. Sure, the money's great, but you got to know why you want the money. What's the money going to do for you? You have to see yourself already successful. You got to begin with the end in mind. And I want to share something really quick before I pass it over. And I'm going to share a quick story because this is so good. But imagine you had a crystal ball. And, we're in the middle of the NFL season. I'm a big fan. I'm a Broncos fan. I'm a Giants fan, a New York Giants fan, but my Giants had a really rough season. So I've been a Broncos fan for as long as I've lived in Colorado. But I'm really a Broncos fan now because there's just so much to look forward to, so much to root for. As we got a big game coming up this weekend. But I want to share with you, if you had a crystal ball, and I'm going to take it away from the NFL. I'm going to give this to, say, Major League Baseball. Let's just say you're watching a baseball game, and let's just say your favorite team is, I'll just use my favorite team, the Yankees, right? I know some of you are booing, throwing tomatoes at the screen, but if you knew that your favorite baseball team was playing in the World Series, right? It should be just called the U.S. Series because it's not really about the whole world, it's about the U.S. But if they were playing in the World Series and you couldn't watch the 7th game of the World Series because you were at an Empowernetwork event, and you DVR'd it so you could watch it when you got home from the event, and you did everything you could, right, to stay away from Facebook and listening to the news or watching TV in your hotel room, and whenever anyone brought up the baseball game, the 7th game of the World Series, right, that had just ended, you did your best not to hear the score and not to know who won. And you get in your chauffeur-driven limousine at the airport to go back home and watch your 7th game of the World Series, and your limousine driver says, "Man, isn't that awesome that the Yankees won?" And you're like, "Oh crap! He just ruined my whole my anticipation to go home and watch the game." And you now know the outcome of the World Series, and you go home and you're like, damn, I wanted to watch it as if it hadn't even taken place yet, and you go home to watch it, and you put it on anyway because you want to see the game, and you know what the score was, you know who won the game, you know who won the World Series, you know who got the championship ring. Would it matter if your team was down 10 runs to nothing in the 2nd inning? Or if your favorite player got hit with a fastball in the side of the head and got knocked out the rest of the game? Would it matter to the outcome of the game? You already know what the score was, and you know what the outcome of the game was going to be. So that's called beginning with the end in mind. So you really want to get crystal clear on what high-ticket sales can do for you in your life. So I want you to make sure you're clear on that, because none of what we talk about here for the next 8 or 10 hours is going to matter if you don't know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. So that being said, I want to pass it over to Shannon Lavinia because I know she's got so much to share. We were talking right before the hangout, and she's had 6-figure months. Her and her husband John, great people. I can't wait to meet them here at home, in my home in Colorado. They're going to come out. We're going to do some skiing. And we've already met. We've already hung out at several Empowernetwork events, but I can't wait to go hang out on the slopes with them. So that being said, Shannon, I want to bring you out here because you got so much to share. I can just tell you're bubbling.
Thank you, Aaron. Oh my gosh, I love you and Sophia's story. I just love it because it's such a story about really recognizing the value of your time, for one, but then also just overcoming so much to be able to get where you are right now. And I think a lot of times people in their minds, they're thinking, well, Aaron, if only you knew my circumstances, if only you knew what was going on in my life, then you wouldn't be asking of me what you're asking of me. And in reality, what I say to people is, everyone's got circumstances. Who cares about your circumstances? Everybody's got circumstances. And the way to create your future, the way to create the life that you want, is to step beyond those circumstances and to really figure out what it is that you do want and then go after that. And I'll share a couple of quick stories with everybody on the line. Some of you may know or not know, but I actually, as a child, I was an orphan. And my mom died when I was 7. I was raised by my grandparents. My grandparents, of course, were much, much older. And by the time I turned 12, my grandparents had retired and were living on a very, very small income. We were very poor. So I started working when I was 12, and I would ride my bike. My first job was in a Catholic church rectory. And then my second job was working in a kitchen as a dishwasher in a nursing home. And then I was promoted, quote, promoted to the housekeeping department of that nursing home. So by then I was 14. I was lying about my age. And I became a housekeeping supervisor. And I would literally clean, dirty rooms, and I would wash dirty diapers, very big dirty diapers. And then by the time I was 16, I was working full-time. I worked 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. 5 days a week as a secretary in the dietary department at a hospital. So I was no stranger to hard work. And I had to have those jobs because I actually had to provide the health insurance for my family. And when I went to college, I put myself through college. I worked 3 jobs. I worked from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Overnight as a hospital emergency room secretary. I worked for a landscape architect, and then I nannied on the side. So I literally worked like a dog. And then I graduated and I became a teacher. And I thought I was going to go to medical school until I worked in the hospital. I got accepted into medical school, and I said there was no way, because by that time, I started working at 12. I was 22 at the time. For 10 years, I had been working full-time, pretty much in industrial jobs. And I just could not see my entire life being a slave to a job. So I became a teacher because I love to travel. And at that point, something happened when I was 22 years old. After working as hard as I worked, my grandfather passed away, and I said, my grandfather worked his whole life as a machinist, and the job literally killed him. He ended up with a lung disease from working on these machines with sand, and he had this dream of moving to Florida, and that dream never came to fruition because he retired on disability, and then he passed away a few years later, and he was too sick to ever realize that dream. And his job, his commitment to that job from when he was 20 years old until he was 63 when he retired, so 43 years, robbed him of all of those dreams. And when I graduated college and I was 22 years old, I just thought, not me. This isn't going to be me. I'm not going to work my whole life at a job giving away my most precious asset, which is my time, because we all have a clock, right? We don't know when the clock bell is going to ring, but we all have a clock. And our time is the most precious asset we have. So are we going to give all of our time away to somebody, or are we going to use our time the way that we want to use it? And when we first got on this hangout, before we got on with everybody, Aaron was talking about Vail, and I've been out here snowboarding up in Park City, and I'm constantly watching the weather report on my phone. I have little reminders and alerts because I want to know what's going to happen with the snow. Because if it snows tonight, you can guarantee I'm going to be on the mountain tomorrow. And last week I went on Thursday, and it was so amazing. For any of you guys who ski or snowboard, I mean, we had 6 inches of fresh powder. It was snowing when I was up there. There was no wind. It was warm. I mean, it was magical. Probably the best time on a mountain I've had in my entire life. And I've been snowboarding for 10 years all over the world. I've snowboarded all over the U.S. and New Zealand, you name it, I've probably been there. But I was out there, and I was the only person on most of the runs, which was fantastic because everyone else is working, right? So to me, this is my lifestyle. So when John and I had the opportunity after we were newlyweds, and I shared this story last week about how we got into high-ticket sales, it was probably the worst possible time in our life for us to choose to start a business. Logically, I mean, people thought we were insane, but it was the best possible time for us to start a business because we realized in that moment, if we kept trading our time for money under somebody else's rule, we were never going to have security in our life. And security for John and I, and fortunately, John and I are 100% on the same page. We really do have an amazing relationship. And for us, security is confidence in our own ability to earn money. no matter what the circumstances are. So when we might have had down times, and the last company we were with, we made millions of dollars, and then one day that company went out of business because the partners had a big, whatever, I don't know, kindergarten rant. I don't even know what to talk about, right? But it went out of business. We were, we had money to survive, but then we also had the confidence of knowing that on any given day we were going to have our next big hit. And while some people said, I remember my father-in-law actually cut out help wanted ads for us. And John, before I met him, he had gone to auto diesel school. So he was an auto diesel mechanic. He worked on tugboats in his early 20s, which when you meet him, you would never in a million years guess that, right? You'll meet him in Miami. He'd be like, I can't even picture you as a tugboat mechanic, much less a diesel mechanic, right? Because he's just so brilliant and such a philosopher. But that's what he was. And after this other company went out of business and we were having a little bit of a challenge, or a big challenge, John's dad was giving us help wanted ads for mechanic jobs and receptionist jobs and stuff like that. And I said to him, I said, are you nuts? Are you absolutely crazy? Because there's no way I'm going to work a job. And he said, well, what about your daughter? And I said, you know what? I would go on welfare before I would get a job. And that would just be it. Because I value my time. And I have no doubt that on any given day something is going to hit for me, and I'll be back on top, and we're back on top, right? And that's where we're at. And that's how it works when you have that level of confidence in your own abilities. Now, every entrepreneur has their ups and their downs, but when you have that confidence in who you are, you know that any given day you can rise up. Now, when we got started in the industry and we got into high-ticket sales, the beauty of high-ticket sales is that I could make in a day, literally one day, I could make in 1 hour what I would work, Monday to Friday, 60 to 70 hours a week for 10 months out of the year. I could earn that income in 1 hour. And I could earn that income in 1 hour while I'm on a lift up to a mountain doing what I love on a day when everybody else is working their job, because I have that confidence. Now, when I first found out about the industry, some people will say, well, or this is the question I get. Weren't you scared? Or, didn't it seem like a lot of money to you? And blah, blah, blah. And I saw it a little bit different. I didn't see it as a lot of money. One, because I had gone to college and I worked 3 jobs to put me through college, and my college was almost $40,000 a year. So, and I didn't actually walk away from that 4-year degree with any knowledge of how to make money. None. No knowledge of how to make money. I can tell you how plants pollinate. I can tell you how every system in your body works. I can tell you how babies are made. I can tell you all of that. I can discipline kids and assign homework. I can do all of that. None of my college degree equated to how to make money. Where I learned how to make money and how to capitalize on my most valuable asset, which is time. I didn't have any business experience. I didn't have any marketing experience. I didn't have any of that, know-how. What I did have was a lot of motivation and drive. How I looked at it was, this was my response. You're telling me that I could make, with the company I was with, I could make $5,000 and $8,000 per sale. And the guy said yes. And I said, and you're telling me that I really can make that, $13,000 per sale? And he said yes. So I was like, sign me up, And then we had to figure out where to get the money from, like everybody else, Sometimes people ask me, well, I don't know anybody who has that money. Of course you don't. You're not going to have a lineup of people. Well, maybe you will, but some people will. You might not have a line out your door on the first day, right? Bentley doesn't manufacture the cars knowing who's going to buy them. Builders don't build $1 million homes knowing who is going to buy them. They build these things knowing that they are going to find the people who are ready to buy these products. And they have that confidence of knowing that there's a whole market of luxury people out there. I mean, Bugatti just came out with a $96,000 belt buckle, right? A $96,000 belt buckle, because somebody is going to buy it. And they know someone. They don't know who's going to buy it, but they know somebody's going to buy it. There's a whole luxury market out there. And when you tap into that market and you tap into the people who are buying education every day. I mean, I've got friends who make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year as coaches because they charge, you know, between $500 and $1,000 an hour for coaching, and people will pay that all day long because they want to have the benefit of being coached by a successful person. So, you know, so people would say that to me. Then we had to figure out the money. Now, John and I, in my experience, and I will say this with 100% confidence, when you make a decision that you're going to do something and you release the doubt and the fear around it, that truly is when miracles happen. And I've seen this in my own life so many times. You know, I remember when we had to come up with, at the time, $1,500 for the first product, $8,000 for the second, and $13,000 for the third product. We had no idea where that money was going to come from. The $1,500, we didn't pay some bills. That wasn't too much of the stress. The $8,000, we had no idea. And then literally, like, I don't know, 4 days after we made that decision, 4 or 5 days after we made a decision, we got one of our credit cards doubled our credit card limit. Like, literally just doubled it, and that card had been maxed out. So we're sitting there and we're like, how dumb can this credit card company be, because we've maxed this card out, we've been late with payments, and now they just doubled our credit limit. So that helped us get the second product. The third product, you guys are gonna crack up when this happens. So I was going to school for my master's degree, marriage and family therapy. And I was in that program for about 6 months when I thought, there's no way on earth I can possibly do this, because most of my classmates were genuinely crazy, and these are the people that I was going to have to work with. And it all started when we were in a class and I said, poverty is a choice, and they just attacked me. How can you say that? Poverty, people are born into it. I was born into it, and at the time I was driving a Lexus, you know, making $40,000 or $50,000 a month with this new business venture I had. So I'm going to school for my master's degree, and I applied for a student loan. And the student loan was for $16,000. And by some freak of whatever happened, they sent the student loan check to me instead of the college. And they never do that. They never send the check to the student. Why? Because the student could spend it, which is exactly what I did to get started in that business. And then about 3 weeks later, I got a call from the college wanting to know where their $16,000 was, and I was like, whoops, I cashed it, I spent it, you know, I'll have to pay you back later. And that's how that manifested itself. Like, literally miracles happen. And then within 90 days in that business, we were making over $20,000 a month. John and I both quit our jobs. We bought new cars. You know, within 7 months, we were making over $100,000 a month. Within 2 years, we bought our first $1 million home. And once you have this change of mindset, you think in a whole different way. And you've met people like this. Well, you're talking to people like this right now. Sometimes when I go to like a Starbucks or something like that, and I get online, now I tend to be, and John tends to be, a person who knows exactly what they want. It doesn't take us a long time to make a decision. We make decisions very quickly. If I go into a Starbucks or another store and the person in front of me is at the register and they're still debating what it is that they're going to order, I know they're broke. Because if they can't make a simple decision about what type of coffee they want, and they have zero consideration for the people behind them, then they have no value for their time or the time of anybody else, and they can't make decisions. Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich that successful people are in the habit of making decisions very quickly because we have a certain level of confidence. I remember when John and I were buying our home in Tucson, you know, we knew right away that that was the house that we were going to get. And when we met with our mortgage agent, we said, this is the house we want, make it happen. It was a 5-minute conversation. Just make it happen. Tell us what you need, we'll get it to you, make it happen. And you learn how to value time, and you learn how to make decisions that move you forward. And that's what we're talking about with High Ticket Academy. It's not just a mindset. It is a mindset, but it's also a beingness. You can tell by the way that we walk. You can tell by the way that we talk. You can tell that we are a force to be reckoned with. When I walk up to a hotel counter, they know they're going to give me a good room because they can just tell from my posture that I'm not the person they're going to put next to the elevator. Right? If you're the person who, at a hotel room, and I love talking to people like this, they're like, every time I go to a hotel, I get the worst room in the hotel. It's because when you walk up to the counter, they know they can put you by the elevator because you're not going to do anything about it. Right? And it's a way of being that gives you this certain confidence, this certain mindset that literally you could sell anything. I could probably sell somebody a jet airplane if I wanted to. I could sell somebody a car. I've sold people on getting cars because I've been so enthusiastic about it. And that level of confidence is going to carry you forward in anything that you do. So if you're a person who is, tired of being second best, if you're a person who's tired of having the same circumstances repeat in your life over and over again, if you're tired of the worry that comes from money, there's two types of people in this world, in my opinion. There's people who have confidence about money, and then there's people who worry about money. And sometimes I'll fall back into that old mindset that I used to have when I was a teacher of worrying about money. And that in itself will block any prosperity in your life, because you're literally drawing in circumstances to create worry about money. But when you have confidence about money, when you have that confidence in your own ability and confidence in knowing that you can create, and I know it's cliche, but it's true, income on demand, and all the people on this line have done it. We've all created income on demand. We want something, we see something, we want something, we get something. That's how it works. If you want that ability, then this is the right place, and this is the right type of training, and this is the right environment for you to be around successful people. And the last thing I'll say is when John and I stretched ourselves to that level, we learned a couple of things. One, we learned that we truly can create magic in our lives. And all of the times where we thought, oh, how are we going to get the money to pay this, or how are we going to get the money to pay that, that just goes away. Because once you do it and you realize that you can create it, oh my gosh, that is like your whole life opens up. Two, we learn to value our time. And people don't work at McDonald's because they want to work at McDonald's. They work at McDonald's because the value they've put on their time is $8 an hour. I remember a friend of mine said, can you watch my little boy? And we babysit swap and stuff like that, and I'll pay you. And I said, first, you couldn't afford to pay me. Second, you wouldn't want to pay me to watch your kid. And third, I'm not a babysitter, and I'm not going to be paid as one. Right? I'll happily watch your son, but you would literally be demoting me in my life, and I would be agreeing to the demotion. So we're not going to do that. So you learn how to value your time. I remember today somebody emailed John, literally emailed John, my husband, to ask him how to download a YouTube video. And I said, send them an invoice for $300, and then you can show them how to download the video. And we were like, are you kidding me? Like, this is what you're going. That person does not value their time or anybody else's, right? Because you can watch a video on YouTube to learn how to download a video. So we learned to value our time. The third thing we learned is the value of being around and in an environment of successful people who are making more than you're making. When we went to that first event, which was our second product in that company, we went to this event in the Atlantis, It was the first time that we were literally hanging out with an environment of people making $40,000 a month and more. Their way of making decisions, their way of looking at things, their way of acting, their way of being, we started to model them. And in modeling them, we became them. And, you know, we don't hang around with people making $10 an hour because there's a certain mindset, there's a certain conversation that those folks have, and I used to have, that is a bit polluting to our intentions for our life. We do hang out with people making, you know, $20, $30, $40, $100,000 a month. And when we went to that first event, we sat down with these people, we learned what they were doing. They accepted us as a leader because we were there. They were willing to spend our time, give us their personal contact information, and just spill the beans on everything they were doing. Plus, we sat down with one of the greatest leaders in personal development, Bob Proctor, and we had time with him. And in that moment, my mindset shifted, and I realized who I was. I realized that I was Shannon Lavinia. I was a leader and could be this leader to really help and empower people. And that's what I got into teaching for, was because I liked to make a difference. However, that teaching paid me $26,000 a year. This teaching pays me $26,000 a week, a month, or, you know, whatever it is I want to earn, I can do that. And I can do it while snowboarding, while vacationing, while being at, you know, we're leaving on Friday, we're leaving for Disney, we're going to be in Miami, we just got back from Phoenix, you know, we go all over wherever we want to go. And someone said to me the other day, oh, you're so lucky to go to Disney. I was like, no, we're not lucky. We whipped out our credit card and we bought a package and we're going to Disney. It was simply a decision. Luck had nothing to do with it. You could go to Disney too next Friday if you want. Oh, I can't get off my job. I was like, well, who's choosing to work the job? That would be you, right? And you could imagine that that person is now inquiring about what we're doing. So it's in that conversation I just had, right? You're like, oh, how could you say that to somebody? I say it to somebody because it literally is a reflection of who they are being. That's all we really, that's the best role we can have, is to be a mirror for people. If somebody's saying, oh, you're lucky, it's like, no, it's not luck. You could go too if you made the decision to go. Oh, I can't get off my job. Well, who's choosing to work that job? That would be you. So still, you're responsible for that, and you could make a decision that you're going to do something else to earn income that would give you the freedom to go to Disney if that's what you want to do. And that whole conversation I've learned in this industry. My whole sales training, my whole how to be a seven-figure earner, all of that came from one very simple decision at a incredibly difficult time in our life, and that decision was to stretch ourselves, to move beyond any adversity, any obstacle, any excuses, and to just do it, to go for it, to make it happen. And that decision has given us a real miracle of a life where we're able to be, do, and have anything that we want in our life. And that, my friends, is available to anybody on this line. It's simply your decision on what you're going to do to create your future. So that's what I've got for you guys. I think I'll pass it on over to Vic.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Shannon? All right, awesome. What's up, everybody? You guys are still awake? Anybody sleeping yet? Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! We've been alone down here for almost an hour and a half, something like that. Good stuff, guys. Aaron, I know that you're the brains behind this particular product, and I just love the way that you structure this. As I'm just hearing you guys kind of looking at this from a bird's eye view of how this whole thing is going to come together. This is a product in creation process right now, and obviously, if you guys are watching this already recorded, then you'll know what I'm talking about when you go through this. But right now we're basically laying the groundwork, which is very important. And I've been taking some notes, brother, here, and you're talking about the power of subconscious mind. You're talking about personal growth. You're talking about expectations, intentions, all that stuff. And I'm just listening. I'm like going, absolutely, man, right there. Shannon is talking about confidence and believing in yourself, and all that stuff is critical. I think, folks. I think if if anything, this where everything starts with. Okay, but what I wanted to, I guess, give you guys here tonight. Not gonna talk for too long. Don't want to bore you guys, but I do want to give you some cool nuggets that you can apply in your, as you prepare your, your high-ticket empire, if you will. I'll tell you that in a minute, but I've been here. Here's the thing, when I'm hearing stories, Aaron, Shannon, when I'm hearing stories, Dave talks, Dave teaches through stories. I listen to audios a lot. In fact, every single day I listen to audios. I listen to people who inspire me. I listen to people who motivate me. I listen to people who play their game at the level that's just way up there. I listen to people like Donald Trump. I listen to people like Tony Robbins. I listen to people like Robert Kiyosaki. I listen to people, who are playing their game at the highest level possible. And what I'm listening to is not necessarily the how-to, because the how-to stuff is going to click. It's going to click. But what I'm listening to is I am listening to for ideas, right? Ideas, folks. If you're taking notes, write this down. Ideas. All right. So if you're hearing Aaron's talk, and if you're hearing other leaders are speaking here, listen not so much for the how-to. All right. You want to listen for ideas. How did Aaron, right? There could be one word, there could be a sentence, there could be a little paragraph that he was going to say, and if you're not fishing for those ideas, it's just going to go over your ears. That's why listening to information over and over again is so important, right? Bob Proctor teaches that. We've been talking about Bob Proctor here today as well. He's saying when you read a good book once, right, you get about 20%. When you read it 5 times, you get a lot more. But that's important, and the thing that I want to leave you guys with, from my personal perspective, is that again, if you're taking notes, you might want to write this down. Okay, so number one thing is you don't sell. And again, we're going to be talking a lot about the how-to, right, in the upcoming lessons. Right now, this is the groundwork. This is the foundational stuff, which I think is very, very important. So here is what you guys may want to remember, or write down, or at least make a mental note or jot it down on paper. All right. When you are selling anything, all right, when you're selling anything, especially high-ticket stuff, especially $3,000, $5,000, $20,000 levels, okay, you don't sell the product. Okay, if you guys want to know some strategies, you don't sell the product. What do you sell? You sell your confidence, folks. Okay, you sell your confidence in that the product will help your customer go from point A to point B, or otherwise known as get results. All right, and the keyword there, folks, was you sell your confidence in that the product can do that for you. Okay, so that's, I think, from my perspective, I think that's the most important, because a lot of people selling products, right? A lot of people selling stuff. But what really separates people from, winners from those people who are just average, it's not the product, because average people sell products too, right? You wanna sell your confidence. That's really what sells, right? It's your confidence, and a lot of this stuff is, as you can see, for what Aaron has been talking about, a lot of this stuff will come together if you actually think about it, right? If you actually map it out, if you actually put yourself in your customer's shoes and think, how would you respond to you, right? If you were selling you or to yourself. Thing number 2 is, I think it's very important as well, is for me, right? For me to sell something successfully, I want to be a product of the product. Okay, you want to know your product, you want to know what you're selling. That's obviously important. Think about people who big figures in this industry, right? I mean, I follow Donald Trump a lot, right? And not necessarily that I'm not, I don't care about real estate investing or anything like that, but he is one of the best in his field, okay? There are other people who are really, really good in their particular fields, right? And so what I do is I take a lot of ideas from other people, even though they're not internet marketers, okay? And so when I look at somebody like Donald Trump, for example, he is the best at what he's done, what he does, and he's a product of the product. Okay, he's not only teaching; he actually lives. That's his life. Okay, that's his life. So when your business becomes your life, when what you do literally becomes a part of who you are, not just that I'm just selling this thing to make a buck, kind of like what Aaron was, Shannon was talking about. What's your why behind this whole thing, right? Everything's going to come together. Donald Trump, he doesn't treat his business as, well, this is my business, this is what makes me, the money. That's his life, right? You look at Tony Robbins, he is the product of the product. You look at, Brendon Burchard, right? I mean, he's a very successful marketer, and this guy started from, zero, and is doing phenomenally well, and that's his life. When you look at anybody, right? Anybody who's truly successful and has done it for a very long time, sustained, they are the product of the product, right? Now, when you also look at these people, they all have different levels of products, right? Donald Trump. Everybody wants to get Donald Trump stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want to, own a condo on an ocean front, right? I mean, everybody would want to do that, but not everybody can afford, a $10 million or $15 million condo, right, in Miami. So those people who cannot afford that, right? They buy his less expensive stuff. They buy his ties and and whatever else he's selling out there, right? The small ticket stuff. But when you look at all these guys, right? When I look at them, to me, the lesson in that is selling high ticket pays, right? Selling high ticket pays. When I was actually at the event not that long ago at the 25K group. Joe Polish, another marketer, info marketer, and he's doing these $25,000 masterminds. You gotta pay $25,000. You gotta make $1 million. A whole bunch of qualifications you gotta go through just to get in the room and just listen to to those guys. He had Brendon Burchard. Brendon Burchard was there, and he was talking about his stuff. And when I look at them, right, they've got like $50,000 masterminds, $100,000 private retreats, right, that people can go to. Now that tells me that there is market for it. Otherwise, people wouldn't do it. Okay, and in your business, as you're building your business, and this is important, folks. This is not just about making money. This is your positioning as a marketer inside of this industry. Okay, which is very important. I think that when you're building your business, the time to set your sail, the time to really, stake your, put your stake in the ground is now. Is when you're just getting started, not when you become so-called successful. It's a lot easier to set your course early on in a business, right, than it is to try to, restructure everything down the road. Okay, so when I'm gonna give you guys some cool strategies that you can follow that I think will help you. Again, can I promise? Absolutely not. But I think it will help you because it helped me. Okay, personally, and some of this stuff I see, a lot of people are implementing, and it works for a lot of people. So I think it will work for you as well. But as soon as I started to market on the internet, right, my mentor, he said, Vic, offer people an ability to buy higher ticket stuff from you. Now I thought, well, I can't, I mean, how can I sell high ticket stuff if I'm not successful yet, right? What I did though, right, is I did some of the things I'm going to tell you in a few minutes here. But basically what I started to offer, right, the most expensive product that I sold was a $7,000 product. I did not sell the $20,000 or $40,000 products like Aaron did, right? He sold that stuff all day long. I didn't. But here's what I learned. When I gave people an ability, right? When I gave people an ability to become a coaching client of mine, okay? And I just wanted to put it out there just as a positioning thing, right? Just as a positioning thing. This was several years ago, okay? And I thought, well, what would happen? Because my mentor said, he said, Vic, you got to have something of a massive, first of all, massive transformational value, something that will get people results, and you got to charge for it, right? If nothing else, it will position you in the marketplace as somebody who has that. Okay, very important to understand. So that's what I did. I just put it out there, and I just said, okay, my coaching is going to be $20,000 for, I don't remember, a month or 90 days or something like that. And I did not even, honestly, I did not even think that anybody would call me up or be interested in that thing. To my surprise, I had like 40 or 50 applicants within a matter of a few months come in, and I did not take any personal clients. I just wanted to kind of test the idea, right? So that goes to show you that there is market that's willing to buy. Now, of course, we're all sold on the idea of high ticket. I mean, high ticket is obviously cool, and also what I learned about high ticket from promoting and building businesses and hanging out with people who are just masters at this kind of stuff is that high ticket customers, okay, high ticket customers, they are, I don't want to, for lack of a better word, folks, they are cooler customers. They cause you less headaches, all right? They complain less. So selling high tickets is a pretty cool thing when you learn how to do that. And of course, that's what this course is all about. So that's thing number 2, right? Is know your product. You got to be really good. You got to have really good knowledge about what you're doing. You got to be a product of the product. In other words, you have to be in that, right? Thing number 3 is when you are, when you're building or when you're promoting, when you're creating your campaigns, right? When you're structuring your blog post, when you're out there on Facebook, when you're prospecting, when you're talking to people, think about this, all right? How can I create a pull marketing instead of push marketing? Big difference. Okay? How can I create a pull type marketing instead of a push type marketing? You guys know what a push marketing is, right? Everybody's trying to push you stuff, and they're sending you 15 emails per day. Hey, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. Their email open rates plummet, right? They don't get results. They get frustrated. They move on to something else, and they're just vicious circle, and it's just they have headaches all day long, right? They're not happy. They're complaining. They're grinding. I mean, it's just crazy. It's hell on earth, right? When you can learn, right, how to create pull marketing, I'm going to teach you guys that if Aaron invites me back, I don't know if he will, but if he invites me back here, I might teach you guys how to do that in your business. Okay, really, it's not anything rocket science. Anybody can do that. It's actually very easy to do, but there is certain psychological things that you need to understand when you are building your business that will allow you to create a pull type marketing in your business. Okay, when you're creating your campaigns, it's going to be a pull campaign to where people literally are pulled into you, right? People. It's like you're a magnet. People want to be around you. People want to buy your stuff. People want to be, even if they can't afford to buy your high ticket thing, they still want to be around you. Does that make sense? And it's a good thing, if you do it genuinely. Okay, and so the thing here is you got to do it genuinely. If you try to manipulate people, obviously that's not the way to go, and nobody should do that. But creating a pull type marketing is very, very important. Now, a couple ideas I'll give you guys when it comes to that. All right. So number 1 is you got to have. It's always best. Okay. Ideally is to have some kind of automated. Powerful automated system that's going to do most of the work for you. And I'm sure Aaron's probably going to teach you how to do that because he's got it down to a science. Leaders will share with you their systems because there's a lot of people who are who have been very successful doing this kind of stuff. And a system is going to allow you to do what you personally cannot do, right? So you can do the work once, let the system do most of the work, and then maybe you have to do 1%, right? If you have to. And again, we can talk about that later on in the upcoming lessons. Thing number 2 that's very important, something that I learned personally, okay, is if you are going to chase after people, they're going to run away, okay? Allow people to qualify themselves to work with you. Allow people to qualify themselves to even purchase from you. How do you do that? It goes against the human psyche, right? It goes against our thinking. How can you literally push people away the end result is they buy more stuff from you. Okay, how can you do that? There is a way to do that, right? By the way that you structure your business, by the way that you structure your campaigns. Okay, guys, if you get one thing from tonight's groundwork for this particular product, right, which is going to be an absolutely incredible product. I think this thing should sell for at least $1,000. That's my personal opinion, and I think it will when the price goes up there. You know, I hope they jack the price up to $1,000. Number one, you guys will make more money, and number two, people will value stuff more. You know, when people buy something for $10 at Walmart, they don't value that as much as if they go to, Bull Harbor in Miami, like we're going to be right in the next few days here, and they buy something for $700 or $7,000. You know, so people put more value on the stuff that they pay more money for, obviously. But allow people to qualify themselves to get your stuff. Something to think about, you know, as you're creating your business. And I'm going to give you guys this one tip right here. This one tip right here, guys. It may be worth $1 million to you. Okay, I kid you not. Okay, I kid you not. You want to definitely write this down. Okay, if you're taking notes. If you can do that over the course of the next 30 days, just trust me on this. Okay, go with it and just do your absolute best. You know, I started doing P90X thing and love it. And Tony Horton, great guy, love him. Not that kind of love, obviously, but you know, he's a great dude. You know, he said, do your best and forget the rest, right? So if you can do this thing, do your best to do this for the next 30 days, okay? You can see miracles happen in your business, okay? And here's the thing. Learn one strategy, one new idea per day that can help you and your prospect achieve better results, okay? For the next 30 days, make it like a law, okay, for yourself. Make it like something that's just like brushing your teeth, something like eating, something like, you know, showering, something like sleeping, right? Something that you do every single day. For the next 30 days, learn one idea, write it down on a piece of paper, maybe, you know, start a notepad or something, right? And write it down. Think about it really, really hard. How can you apply it in your business, and how would others apply it in their business, okay? And see how that will start to shift your personal magnetism as a marketer. I'm not talking about something outside, folks. I'm not talking about something that just something is gonna, you know, hit you or, you know, or. But again, you never know, right? But what's gonna happen? What you will find, what's gonna happen here is when you do that, you will think about yourself differently. Okay? You will see yourself as a marketer differently. You will act. You will walk. You will. You will hold yourself as a marketer totally differently when you know that you have that confidence inside of you, that you know something that, you know what, 99% out there, you know, in the world, these people don't know because they just decided to be ignorant. Okay, it's not that you're better than anybody else. It's just simply that you decided to do things that 99% of people are not willing to do. Make sense? All right. And it's very easy. How do you do that? How do you learn one idea? How do you learn one new strategy? You read for 30 minutes, folks. I've been preaching this for as long as I can remember, right? Ever since I started to experience this transformation for myself in my business. Take 30 minutes a day, make it mandatory, make it like sleeping, make it like eating, right? Just like a part of your life. Make that be a part of your life, a part of who you are, a part of how you go about your day. 30 minutes of reading, 30 minutes of listening, something that will open your mind to new ideas, okay? Whether it's people from this industry, whether it's people from other industries, and don't listen to anybody who's just kind of getting results. Listen to people who are the top players in their game, okay, guys? Do that for 30 days. Write your ideas down and fish for one idea per day for 30 days. You will see how your confidence level is going to shoot. Okay, it's going to skyrocket, and then all of a sudden, you know, you will be able to. You will have something that other people don't have, and you don't have to talk about it. It's just going to be. It's going to be. You know, people will feel it, right? People will see it, and it's just something that I cannot explain. I'm not going to try to attempt to explain this, but it works. I promise you, every successful entrepreneur, everybody who is genuinely successful, they all understand that. I don't know, man. I don't want to take too much time here. I know that, you know, we've been going on for quite a while already, and we still got, you know, I still want to listen to LT. You still got Chris in the house here, brother. So I think we should maybe move on.
Yeah. No, that was great stuff, Vic, and I agree so much. You have to take stock and pay attention to the ideas that come up, because I know that we all get this. It's called the idea avalanche, and it could either work for us or it could work against us, right? And if you have so many ideas that you never implement, then it works against you. And if you have too many ideas, right, that you try to implement, they can work against you too. But really taking stock and paying attention to your ideas, because it only takes one good one, right, one big idea, right, Vic, to really make a huge difference in your business and in your life and in your success. But what I think a lot of times happens is we don't keep score and we don't pay attention and we don't keep track of our ideas, and so that one big idea, that one or two, those three ideas that could really make a huge breakthrough for you in your business, it's just slips by. We don't act on it. And one other thing I want to talk about, and then I think I would love to have Lawrence come out, because I know that he's he just got so many ideas, and he's just got his mind works so quickly, yet he's so grounded, and he has obviously a tremendous amount of success, and he's going to share a little bit more on this. But I want to make sure we're understanding, the idea avalanche is okay, but it's the speed of implementation that's going to set your business apart. So when you get that idea, that breakthrough idea, run with it, and run hard and run fast and run long, and don't stop running until you've made it work. So that being said, Vic, thanks so much. And yeah, I think we'll have you back out, man, because I took a little poll in the chat. I said, who thinks we should have Vic back? And of course you're coming back, man. Never a question in my mind. This whole group's coming back, guys. We all have so much to share. And I want to address one thing before Lawrence, you come out real quick. Guys, I say this all the time. 98. We're going to teach you what to do and what to say, okay? Don't worry. We're going to teach you what to do and what to say. We have a whole curriculum here. We have an academy, right? That's what the academy is. I want to just bring something up. I say this all the time. 98% of your skill set comes from your mindset. So this is the purpose of this whole conversation here tonight, was to really create this conversation around the mindset. Think about who you just heard from, right? Vic's made probably close to $3 million in the last year and change, right, Vic?
Something like that. I don't know. Yeah.
Something like that. Shannon made multiple six figures, 7-figure income, selling high ticket, right? Myself the same. So again, you got to remember your mindset has to come before skill set, because you cannot effectively fire a cannon from a canoe. You get that? Does it make sense, Vic? So yeah, so let's do this. LT, you out there, man? Let's bring Lawrence out. He's I think Lawrence is hanging out in the bullpen a little bit long. His arms are really warm and he's ready to rock. So jump on in here, big guy. Let's we're good. What's coming up for you, man?
Oh man, awesome. This is my name is Lawrence Tam, if you don't know who I am, and I'm just honored to be on this panel of great stories. I've learned a lot. I got my notes. I got this really thick notepad. One of my mentors told me I paid him $25,000 to basically teach me to take better notes. And not basically, it's one of the things. And so one of the things I've realized is if you're not taking notes, it's probably because you feel like you know everything. And so some of you, I look at this chat, I'm like, do you understand, like, what we teach you it's not always X's and O's. Like, I know some of you are like, you gotta just tell me black and white, what it is. And I think you're missing the point. A lot of it is the mindset, right? So here's an example. I remember when I was, my dad wasn't teaching me how to drive, and he was like, well, son, I'm not going to let you drive my Benz to teach you how to drive. I'm going to teach you in this 1989 German Volvo. I don't actually know what model it was, like a 180 or 240. It was some weird, like, crazy diesel looking thing. I called it the German tank, right? Like the seat, it wasn't like a cushioned seat you would normally sit in. Like the headrest had like slots in it. So like if you were to hit your head on it, it would actually hurt. I didn't really understand what that meant. It was like maybe don't hit your head back and be prepared for impact. It was like this German tank. And so before we took it out and started testing like how to teach me how to drive, he told me how the car worked. And I'm like, dude, I don't care if there's a windshield wiper here. I don't care if this, this is a CV jar. I don't care if this is the X. I don't care about any of that. I just want to learn how to drive. But see, at that time, I was being impatient. I didn't really understand what he was teaching me. I was like, well, this is how everything works. And before we go and actually test drive in a mall so you don't like kill anybody on the street, let me just show you just a basic sample of everything, 40,000-foot view, and just looking at this is the vehicle. I want you to have a better understanding of what you're doing. So you're not going to just be like some random teenage kid driving around getting in accidents, right? And, I'm looking at this as like, thinking back, I'm glad he took that approach, right? Taking that extra time to really having me understand. It might take a couple, years, repetitions, tries for me to learn how to drive a simple car. But if you think about it, there's some people who still don't know how to drive. I know some of you are on the road right now, and your neighbor's driving, texting, or another guy's driving like into a ditch because they're talking on the phone. It's like the things that are mistaken for being taken for granted, right? And that's the stuff that we just have to reiterate with you guys. I know some of you are like, well, just teach me the secret of how to sell something that's high ticket. And a lot of it is weaved into the stories so that you can remember it. Does that make sense? Like remembering stories that actually teach you something, you'll remember the story, right? And this product is something that you can give to your teams and your clients so that you don't have to retell that story. You allow the person who's telling it, being the source, to tell that story. So my background is in engineering. I graduated in 2000 with a mechanical engineering degree, and I kind of like have a different take. When someone says high ticket information, I go, what exactly is high ticket? So we had a master's retreat for Empower. It was like 3,500 or 5,000. I can't remember. And people were like, wow, that's a lot for your education. I'm like, did you go to college? Because that's actually not a lot of money to learn how to make money. Last time I checked, when I went to engineering, no one class taught you how to make money. They don't even tell you how to get a job. They don't even tell you how to climb the corporate ladder. They don't tell you how to leapfrog your manager. And like that, to me, is something I should probably learn how to do. Like I remember in my job, my manager was like the next position up, and he was like 30 years older than me, well established. And in my mind, I'm like, the only way I'm gonna make more money is if this dude dies or if I leave. So it's just like, oh crap. And so that's where I think a lot of us, and when we're working this job, we delay how much money we get to make when we make our next raise. Next year, after a review, I'll get my bonus. Now, some of these bonuses are pretty nice, but working a whole year, working your butt off to get a bonus, well, that's kind of crazy, don't you think? And then what if you work all year and make no bonus? I've done that before. I worked my best year ever. My best review had a 0 bonus, 0 raise. Like, oh, what the heck? We're going to show you in the high-ticket world, you can actually do that, follow what we're teaching you. And the one I took down, fishing for value from Vic, fishing for value every single day that will help your business and your client's business, that will, 95% of you right now, that'll shift your marketing. Why? A lot of you are push, 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 push. Like interruption marketing, throwing an ad here to interrupt somebody, throwing like an ad on someone's car, or trying to get into someone's face to sell them something, when it's not like pull marketing. And I'm looking at this, so this will change your life. I took this note. I'm like, I am going to do that, because I kind of do it already, but not in a focused effort, and I'm not pulling it from the things that I'm learning. Some of you guys aren't learning enough because you're always looking for the secret, which you're probably never going to find, because the secret's right in front of you. It's really just you taking massive action, right? Taking some massive action from the things we teach you. Number one, like Vic said, 30 days, fish for some value, apply it to your own business, apply it to someone else. And so I'm looking at this, okay, now we have the opportunity to teach you how to sell top tier things, but let's put in a relationship. What is a top tier thing? So I decided to Google my alma mater, University of Texas at Austin, 1 year, 9 months of tuition at the University of Texas at Austin is $9,000, 150. $9,150 for 9 months. So it's 1 year, okay, which is actually I thought pretty good, which is crazy. 14 years ago when I graduated, right? I remember taking a semester of classes, like a 13 to 15 full workload. It was around $1,200, right? So I mean, the tuition spikes are just going up, but a lot of you, your relationship with money really hasn't really adjusted. So some of you are thinking, I should be able to learn how to do this for $50. I should be able to learn how to do for free. I should learn how to do this, whatever. The information we're showing you is this information legitly, no one teaches this. This should be at least $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 because we're going to teach you a method of making money that's way more than anything you ever had, especially for those of you who work an hourly job or salary job, working whole years to make $60,000. Well, we're going to show you many people who do that in a month, with methods and being able to apply and test and tweak. Now, University of Texas, I love them. Many people think they're cheap. Why? Tuition's only $10,000 a year. You go to Baylor University, 9 months, tuition is $32,000. Let's put this into a frame where $32,000, let's think about this. My freshman year in high school, right? My freshman year in high school, I didn't know anything. Then when I go to my freshman year in college, I thought I knew something. I didn't really know anything, right? You're taking undergrad classes. I remember in engineering, you had to take like generic classes like calculus, physics. Even though I'm not a physics major, I mean, what? But it's like the basic foundational stuff. And if you're in high school, you take these AP, advanced placement, you can actually opt out of these classes, right? So to me, that means these classes really aren't necessary. But this University of Baylor, right, in Texas, charges $32,000 for classes you can effectively just opt out of because it's really not that necessary. Well, what is necessary for you to change your life and making the money you want to make? Because we're going to show you, like tomorrow with a pen, we're going to be drawing how this all works and comes together. And I know some of you are like, well, that's Baylor, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Stanford, $42,000 in tuition. USC, $45,602 for 1 year. Tulane, $46,000 for 1 year of education. I remember in my class we're taking incompressible flow, right? So like usually you have compressible and incompressible, but incompressible for whatever reason was a lot harder to grasp. And I was talking to my classmate. I was like, when in the heck would we use this? You know what I mean? It's like you'd have to be so specialized in like turbines to be able to need this information. But I'm literally spending thousands of dollars to learn something that probably will never ever be used in my career. And what I learned in engineering, the vast majority of us who had bachelors in engineering, they actually teach you what you want to know at the job. No one told me this. You're telling me everything I really need to know is at the job, at the next company that's going to hire me? Well, why did I go to college in the first place? Interesting. I had a professor, and my professor told me, look, a lot of the stuff we're teaching is either theory, foundational, probably stuff you're never ever going to use. You're not going to use calculus on the job unless you're like doing like hardcore calculations, but most of the time that's done by a PhD or some other grad student. But for you guys who are general bachelors, you're probably never ever going to need calculus or even advanced calculus, right? Finite calculus, you're never going to need it. But what he said struck a chord with me. He goes, but the reason we teach you these things, and we teach you in a very compressed time frame, semesters, okay? In a semester you can cover a lot. We teach you this so you can learn how to learn. A lot of you got out of touch with that. Maybe you never went to college. Maybe you did go to college, but once you were done, you're like, I am done. I'm never going to pick up another textbook. I'm never going to go to class. I never have to wake up. That's the type of mindset that will peak and you will be stuck at a certain income, and you're going, why in the heck am I not making more money? And if you're in marketing, if you're in business, and you're not constantly growing, why would someone want to do business with you? I mean, I wouldn't. You're just a guy who just wants to sit there and do nothing and expect to be rich. No, you have to give value. You have to be the person that, if you're selling something, you have to have confidence that you know what that product is. You need to learn. A lot of you don't want to actually go through the products and just want the secret. The secret is it's really you applying what we teach you. But some of you are so stubborn in your ways that you think you know everything, but you're still not making the money you want to make. Well, we have people who have made over $1 million in our industry teaching you. A lot of it starts up here. And we want to be able to frame it so we can get you to a point where you finally accept that we are here to help you make more money than you have ever made if you just let us show you. Okay? So my best month, I've never in my wildest dreams ever thought this happened, but I did over $200,000 in a month. And I'm thinking about this. How in the heck do you do $200,000 in commissions in a month? A lot of it came from Empowers selling larger ticket items, $3,000 commissions, right? And then I was selling like $10,000 coaching. Now, but thinking about this is like, what if you only, like a lot of you, like, because a lot of us have network marketing backgrounds, we sell juice for $100 and make $10. I get it, right? Do you know how much you would have to sell to make $200,000 in a month? You'd have to sell $2 million. No, not sell. You'd have to earn $2 million at 10% to be able to make $200,000. That's $2 million. Now, we don't want to say that method is bad or it's not something you should look at. It's just a method. It's something you should put into your businesses. But if you're talking about spiking your income, if you're talking about being able to make 6 figures very, very quickly without having to put in thousands of people, a lot of it comes down to how much value do you have, what valuable products do you have. So the question, I had one of our team members, and I thought it was obvious. So I'm going to answer this on this hangout, this training, and speaking directly to you, and I want you to answer this question. Okay, I want you to answer this question. This question is this. If you're on the internet, like I am, like you are, and I'm training you to be an internet marketer or business person, basically, what do you have that you can sell and make money on right now? And I thought 100% of the people would have their Scantron and check, I can sell Empower Network products, or I can sell my own services. But Empower Network seems to be pretty easy to do because a lot of us already do it. Empower Network. Some of you just totally just glaze over that you can actually sell Empower Network products. Now, a lot of you have made a lot of money using Empower Network products and actually retailing it to a lot of customers. We have a lot of customers, right? So one thing you need to start off with understanding is if you're going to make money on the internet, we highly suggest looking at our products and understanding if you don't know what's in there, how are you supposed to sell it? Right? I mean, come on. Some of you guys are not focusing on what we're trying to teach you, and you're just thinking, just give me the dang X's and O's. Now, if you play football, I played football for 4 years in high school, right? Played defensive end and offensive guard. A little small for 5A football, but that's okay in Texas, right? One of the things we understood was you can't do X's and O's until you know basic technique, all right? Basic technique. And one of the basic techniques of internet marketing is you need to be able to understand it all starts with you taking action. That's it. That's it. Taking some freaking massive action. Now, that would probably be the best lead way to my man Chris Record. Chris, are you here, my man? From all the way from Cali. All right, Chris. We always love talking about taking massive freaking action. Is your video up?
Is my video up? Can you see me?
No, I got you. I want to give you some time. I know you have a lot of little kiddos running around, but taking some massive action, man. I mean, everyone on this panel, the main thing that we do, we take a lot of freaking massive action from the things that we purchase, we absorb, and just really digging into the products and understanding how it can apply to yourself so you have confidence to others, right? And the last thing I want to say is I heard a stat that the average CEO reads about 4 to 5 books a month. A month. So if you're not making the money you want to make, it's probably because you're not investing in your own self, you're not digesting information, and you're not taking massive action. So I'm going to leave it to my man, Chris Record, who takes massive action.
Thanks, LT. I appreciate that. Yeah, so for those of you that are still with us, I know we've been going on a while. Probably every single one of us speakers start off by saying how fast we're going to be before we take a full hour to do our talk. But being the last speaker here, I'll do my best to kind of wrap it up. First of all, I just want to say for those of you that came before me, awesome, just awesome, phenomenal job. I just love it. And Vic, I just want to say, man, congrats. Do I see some weight loss there? You're looking sharp, bro, and happy birthday, man. What, you turned like 21, right? I think you turned 21, so.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, getting younger, man.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, man. I actually did P90X a while back. I did P90X a few years ago in 2009 and just trimmed down solid, man, and that's pretty exciting. It's funny how internet marketers, you know, whatever it is, we beef up in the summer and then we get cut in the winter. It's very opposite of everybody else, but looking sharp, staying sharp. So, cool, man. We're going to talk a little bit of high-ticket stuff, but since I'm the last guy here and we've been going for a while, I'm not going to go forever here. Plus, being the last guy, unfortunately, I already got through a few glasses of wine, so I don't know how long I'll be able to go. But we're going to have some fun with it. Yeah, just a bunch of stuff that I can share here. I'm going to start off with just some mindset stuff. Okay, today is like the first of a few hangouts. Plus, there's going to be a bonus where I'm going to come in and talk about just a bunch of cool stuff. And in terms of how I was able to raise capital, stuff like that. But in terms of mindset, in terms of what it takes to be able to really prepare yourself to sell high tickets, a lot of people think it's the how-to. Most people think it's how-to, when really I've experienced the exact opposite. I think if you were to put me in front of 5 people and I was going to try to sell, let's say, a $10,000 product, I've gotten to the point where I have no clue who would buy. Like literally, other than the mindset of, hey, everyone's going to buy, because I think it's amazing. But in terms of like who actually has the money, who has the resources, who has the credit, it might be the person you least expect, right? So what I've realized is it's not so much the how-to, it's all about really the mindset. It's about getting over the obstacles in your own mind. It's about getting over this kind of stuff. Once you fix your mind, once you fix the 6 inches between your ears, what happens is you can go out there and take massive action and actually get a result. When you have this stuff up here messed up, it's equivalent to taking massive action and running around a tree all day long but not actually getting anywhere. And that's the big difference. Is I know a lot of people that are busy but they're not productive. They're busy but they're not productive. So what's the difference? They're both taking massive action, but one's getting massive results and the other's getting massive frustration. And it really comes down to your mindset. It comes down to the 6 inches between your ears. Now this panel that you're seeing here on the Hangout, these are all people that have obviously broken through that. These are people that have had breakthroughs at some point in your life, but you'd be shocked to find out that many of us on the panel, if not all of us, were exactly where you were at some point. We were right where you were, where we did not have that breakthrough yet, and we had doubt, we had disbelief, we had never made good money before, we didn't know what it was like, we were trial and error, we were failing all over the place, we were launching ad campaigns that were losing money, we were talking to people and getting shot down. You know, the list goes on. We were right where you were at some point. The difference is that we had a breakthrough. And at some point when we had that breakthrough, a mindset shift happened. They call it a paradigm shift. And what happened was we didn't work any harder really afterwards. We were probably already working hard. You know, the new early entrepreneur, you're the grinder. You're the person that's up you're still up right now on this Hangout, you know what I'm saying? You're the grinder. You don't miss anything. You're on everything. You want it so bad, but you haven't tasted success yet. So it's not that you can really work so much harder. So what needs to happen is here you are working hard. You need to have some sort of mindset shift, a shift in your state, a shift in your energy, a shift in your knowledge, a shift in the 6 inches here. And then over here, you put in the same amount of work, but get this unbelievably amazing result. And then then you hit a plateau and you keep reinventing yourself to the point where you keep rising up those levels of success. There's people on this panel that are far more successful than me, so that's all about me continuing to have my breakthrough to reach where they're at. Okay, so let's talk about you. Let's talk about you that's watching this webinar right now. You are just one breakthrough away from being able to sell anything that you want to anybody you want anytime that you want. Okay, so let's repeat that right now. You are just one breakthrough away from being able to sell anything you want to anyone you want, anytime that you want, anywhere that you want. From your pajamas at home, heck, I'm wearing sweats. I'm just chilling. You know what I'm saying? Sweats, a glass of wine. You know, I have to admit I did pop off the webinar to go chill with the kiddos for a little bit, but I popped back on. It's all right. LT was still talking for 3 hours, so I was fine. No big deal there. So you know what I'm saying? Anywhere that you want. Just chilling in my house right now, just kicking it, be able to make money. So what's that breakthrough? Well, the breakthrough is different for everybody. That's the one thing. If it was just one silver lining breakthrough, we would just give you that breakthrough. If there was one secret, we'd give you the secret. But I will tell you, look, the number one biggest thing that I've personally experienced is mindset. Now, if you've ever heard me train on Empower Hour calls or on any of the trainings, I call it something very specific. I call it reframing. Is what I call it, reframing, okay? And I believe that that's the single most powerful thing that you can do in your life. And I could give you stories about other people, not even myself. But there's people here on this panel, there's leaders in our company that in their life they have had really difficult things happen. You know, everything from the founders of the companies. You know, one founder at one point was homeless. The other founder at another point had a drug addiction. There's leaders in our company that have had run-ins with the law. There's leaders in our company that have businesses that have failed. There's leaders in our company that have businesses taken from them, completely taken from them. There's people that the whole world came crashing down on them. Or even my personal story. This year alone, you know, I got my wife's father passes away. Her cousin, who's only in the 30s, passes away. My son gets diagnosed with autism. I end up having to walk away from a 7-figure stock deal at a company I just spent 3 years of my life with. I was off to a rough start, okay? So that is what you call crap hitting the fan. And the thing is, everybody's situation is different, okay? You don't have to feel sorry for me. Everybody's situation is different. You probably have a worse situation than mine, you know what I'm saying? But here's the one thing we all have in common. Everybody has crap happen in their lives. It's the universal truth. Everybody has crap happen. Maybe crap from your childhood that's still resonating. Maybe crap this year. Maybe it was the best year of your life. Maybe last year was the worst year. I don't know what it is, but we all go through crap. So the real question is, what do you do? How does your mind handle the crap when you go through it? How long do you dwell on it? How long do you resent other people? How long do you hold on to that? Because what that does is that affects your business. I think a lot of you don't realize that we're in a digital information business with computers and technology, but this thing is 100% emotion. It's 100% emotion. Believe me, we all have it. It's all emotional. It's how when you wake up in the morning, it's your emotion and energy that's going to be able to create this result for you. So you've got to learn to get control of your emotions, and the best place to get control of your emotions is in your mind. How you learn how to reframe things. So I'll give you a couple examples, okay? So in the beginning of the year, my son gets diagnosed with autism. Now, at first, it's a heavy blow, okay? And it wasn't just autism, it was severely autistic. We went in, we had to get therapy. It's been 30 to 40 hours a week of therapy all year long, and now he's finally at 3 years old. The therapy stops. Now we get into a whole new phase of going through special education classes and whatnot. So, my life kind of just got shook upside down. So your immediate sense when things happen bad in your life, your immediate thought is crap. You got crap going, and it's tough, and you're reminded of how tough life gets. Then as a little bit of time goes by, you deal with it. You can cope with it. You go, okay, it's not that bad. I can deal with this. And a little bit more time goes by, and you go, you know what? I can get over this. I can actually get over it. I believe I could actually get past this. A little bit more time goes by, you go, I'm over it. I'm over it. I'm completely fine. And then finally, a little bit more time goes by, and you go, you know what? It's a blessing. It's actually a blessing that this has happened to me. You see, so on one hand, you got two different sides of the spectrum here. On one hand, you got the ultimate crap happening on your life, and then a certain amount of time passes, and you end up being able to look back on that crap and go, that was a blessing. If that wouldn't have happened in my life, I would never be where I am now, and I'm so grateful to be where I am now. So crap to blessing. How do you go from crap to blessing? And the real question is that you're naturally going to go there. The real question is, what does that time frame look like? And how can you collapse that time frame? Okay, because that's where reframing comes. Reframing. You got to be able to reframe things. You got to be able to look early on at the crap that's happening in your life, be able to reframe it quickly into a positive situation, because then you're not knocked off your game in your other areas of your life, like your business and your success and your finances and your fitness and your health and all these things. You got to be able to reframe things quickly. Now, if you're going to sell high-ticket items, $10,000 items, $15,000 items, $20,000 items, it's even more important to reframe, because what's going to happen is for you to be able to move that amount of dollar figure through somebody, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, whether it's through email, whether it's through a video, a webinar, whether it's through a hangout, or whether it's just digital, you're going to be transferring emotion. Okay, the whole sales process is transference of emotion, and you're going to be transferring emotion. So how you control your emotional state is going to dictate the amount of value that you're going to be able to sell out there to the world. Now, I'll give you an example. Let's say that Aaron Rashkin was trying to sell me on a $20,000 product. Okay, I'm going to be real hypothetical here. Let's say he was trying to sell me on, look, Chris, for 20 grand, you can come out to my office for a whole week. Okay, you're going to be there for a whole week. Now, here's what we're going to do. Every single day, you're going to look over my shoulder as I work my business. It's not going to be about you. It's going to be about my business, but you're going to look over my shoulder, be a fly on the wall. Then the second half of the day, we're going to talk about what you learned, and we're going to work on how we can apply that to your business. So you're not going to knock me off my game for a week, but at the same time, it's going to be a mix. It's going to be about me and about you. And it's 20 grand. Now, here's why you'd want to pay 20 grand because, you know, what would that be worth to you? You know, what if I could show you how to be able to increase your income just 10% this year, that'll more than cover itself. But what if I could teach you how to double your income, right? So he'd be asking me questions. How much did you make last year? So I might say like 500 grand. He goes, what if I could take you to $1 million? Would that be worth 20 grand to you? Hell yeah, that'd be worth 20 grand, right? So he's got my attention. He's got it going. He's presented a unique selling proposition where I fly out, I spend a week at his house, whatever. I give him 20 grand, and I'm gambling. I'm taking a gamble and a risk that I'm going to be able to utilize what he can teach me and go do it. Now, part of it's on him. I've given him money, so he has to deliver on some goods. But ultimately, the majority's on me. The majority's on me. I could either be 20 grand out the door and I never do anything with it, or I could take massive action on what he taught me and go double my income. And if I doubled my income, it'd be the smartest $20,000 I've ever spent in my life. Okay? So in that situation, he's created he's selling something of some value there. Now, the real question is, what's going on in Aaron's life? Because that is going to make the difference on whether or not I buy. And this is by the way, I don't know. I'm under the impression everybody that's here has bought this product. I'm also under the impression that you should not be sharing this information with people who have not bought this product. You should be getting them on this webinar in order to get this. Because listen, I'm about to get very, very real with you. These are the conversations that 6- and 7-figure earners have on their own when we get together in small circles. Listen, if Aaron is going through funk right now, if he's going through funk, as good of a salesman as he is, he might be able to close some sales. But if he's going through funk, and he's trying to sell me on a $20,000 product, he's going to transfer that funky emotion to me. That funky emotion. Maybe he's going through, just something bad in his life. Maybe it's tax problems. Maybe it's spouse problems. Maybe it's kid problems. Maybe it's self-doubt. Maybe it's doubt problems. Maybe whatever. It's different for everybody. And I'm not. Aaron's has no problems. So Aaron's actually a perfect human being. He's actually the He-Man of the internet. He's the world's strongest internet marketer. So it's all hypothetical here. But the reality is that transference of emotion is going to dictate his income. Okay? Do you get this? His ability to transfer, convey an emotion to me to buy is going to dictate his income. Now, I want you to think real quick about this. What are things that people are passionate about, just super passionate about? Think back to your life when you've been so passionate about something. Maybe when you first met your girlfriend or boyfriend or your spouse, when you first met them and you were going through that kind of dating phase. Think about the passion there. Maybe when you first got married, you're in that honeymoon phase. There's a certain different type of passion, and then the rest of your life you're always working on recreating that passion over and over again to make it last, right? So there's an initial passion, then there's this lasting passion. When you have this initial passion about something, you're unstoppable. You're on fire. I remember when I had my first child, I was working a job at the time, and I called up my employer, and I just was running my mouth so fast it wasn't making any sense, and I was just like telling him like, I'm going to change the world, it can't believe how amazing life is, this, I'm just like saying these big things that don't even make any sense. And then he just replies back to me and goes, yeah, I remember what my first kid was like too. If you would have caught me on that day, I was in the most amazing emotional state of my life at that moment, okay? So we have this ability inside of us to turn on and off our state. We have this ability to be able to bring out your state. So if you're going to sell high-ticket items, you've got to get good at sorting all the garbage that goes on in your life, and being able to filter that, be able to compartmentalize that, and be able to focus on at the task at hand, which is the fact that sales will oftentimes solve a majority of problems. Okay, success, it's not so much the money, it's really the success. It's the abundant attitude will oftentimes bring more abundance into your life. Whereas when you have kind of a bad attitude, when you're kind of dwelling on negative, what will happen is it's what they call a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's where like you're negative, you're kind of in a down mood, and then as a result, you don't think things are going to go well. Because you don't think they're going to go well, they end up not going well, and then you justify, see, I told you they weren't going to go well. You know, it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you can learn how to reframe yourself, you go, man, I have a feeling today's going to be my best day ever. Because you have this different state of emotion, you go out and create your best day ever, and then you say, see, I told you today was going to be my best day ever. You see the difference? You're in full control the whole time of your life. You're in full control the whole time of your life because you're in control of your energy and your emotional state. Learn to turn it on. Learn to be able to get into that peak state. Now, in order to get into that peak state, I'm going to tell you, that peak state is going to come from anchoring. We're going to get to that in a second. But essentially, we want to start with basically what I'm calling reframing. Okay, first things first, take the negative things that are happening right now, and again, this has to do with sales. Don't think this is some, heebie-jeebie stuff. This is sales 101 right here. Take the negative things that are happening and begin to reframe them. Listen, I got my son diagnosed with autism. Within 30 days, I had come to a 100% convicted belief that that is how God intended it to be for my life. Meaning that I believed 100% that I actually felt blessed, that I was entrusted with the responsibility of raising an autistic child. And I actually felt humbled because I knew that I was going to have to learn patience. I was going to have to be a little bit more empathetic. I was going to have to be more sympathetic. I was going to have to be more understanding. And these things I needed to work on. I didn't ask God for these things. God delivered a package that increased my empathy, my patience, increased my hands-on ability, my love. Everything was like 10x'd. All those things. Now I was like, God, 10x my money, 10x my life, 10x my spouse. I wasn't like, hey, 10x my empathy. You know what I'm saying? God delivered that to me, and it changed. It changed me. So the reality is that I learned to reframe that and said, you know what? For me personally, this is the greatest thing that could have ever happened in my life. And then I also realized this is a great thing for my son too. There's a part of his brain that's turned on differently that's going to give him a unique life. Right? He's not going to do the same stuff that most people do. It's not going to be a mediocre life. Every single day is going to be a choose-your-own adventure for this kid. And I'm going to be there for him, as a parent. And I'm blessed with that responsibility. So I get to a point where it's like, bring it on. Bring it on. Now, the reality is, how quick can you get there? Now, some things are crazy, man. I'm not saying that when somebody dies, an hour later, you should be in your peak state. Okay, I get it. I get it. What I am saying is that your ability to step it up to the next level, the next tier, to really go up there and start selling high ticket, to really advance into the 7-8 figure club is going to be your ability to reframe the things that happen to you as fast as possible so that those things are not big, nasty emotional setbacks. Okay? Real case in point. Okay, I'm married, I'm happily married, got kids, everything's fine. But I can tell you right now, a lot of people go through divorces. I think we're at like 50% rate, okay? So I happen to know a lot of people that have gone through divorces, as you probably do. Heck, a lot of you listening maybe have gone through a divorce yourself. It's a very, very real thing that happens out there. When you go through a divorce, that split is like, it just rips you apart, right? Even if you're happy, like finally I get rid of this thing that I didn't like, whatever, okay, fair enough. But during that transition, that's a nasty place to be in. And I've personally witnessed people go through that nasty phase, right? So the reality is, how quickly can you reframe something like that? So things are going to happen to you. I don't know what's going to happen to your children. I don't know what's going to happen to your spouse. I don't know what's going to happen to your family. I don't know what's going to happen with life and death with friends. I don't know what's going to happen with failures in business. I don't know what's going to happen with losing money. I don't know what's going to happen with making an investment that doesn't go well. I don't know what it's going to be for you. Okay? Maybe it's even something small that just knocks you off track. Okay? Like you're just depressed. Maybe you're overweight, you're depressed, or maybe you feel like you don't know enough. You feel like you're not technical enough. So you're just depressed. You feel like whatever it is. You've got to be able to reframe that. You've got to be able to reframe that. I'll give you a couple more examples, then we're going to go to anchoring, but a couple more examples. I was talking with a woman who was about 60 years old the other day. and she was complaining. Oh, I don't want to use the word complaining, but to me it sounded like complaining. She was explaining her situation when essentially it just sounded like complaining to me. Her explanation was that because she's old, she doesn't learn technology as fast as we do, so she's at a disadvantage. Okay, this is a belief. This is what you call a limiting belief. This is a limiting belief that she has. So what I did inside of those 10-15 minutes is I helped her reframe that because she's older, she's wiser, she has more experience, she's seen more business failures and success in her lifetime, she's got a bigger network, she knows more people, she's wiser. And I said, whatever happened to the days of somebody getting older and they get wiser? You know, look, I look up to you because you've had more experiences, you've done more, you've got more of a full life, you've got more to draw from, you have more of a story, you have dozens and dozens of stories. I can't wait till I'm your age to be able to pull out more stories to be able to sell better with. You're at an advantage. And you know what? She believed it. She said, you know, I never thought about that way. So I said, all right, let's reframe that. Because I'm 60 years old, I have more resources. I have more advantages than people half my age. I have more stories to be able to sell better. I have more experience to be able to draw from. I've seen more things that fail, and I've learned from those. So I have more mistakes, and I've had more mentorship. And you know what? I have more belief because I've gone through thick and thin, and I'm still here crushing it. So you know what? Being 60 years old and just getting into the internet is one of the greatest advantages I could have. And she said that, and she believed it. Now, how many of you believe that? That's a case of what you call reframing. Once you reframe, once you learn how to transfer this emotional state to yourself, you can step out and you can actually create any result that you desire in the world. You can sell anybody, anything, anytime, anywhere you want. Period. End of story. Okay? So just become a master of, just promise me you're going to become a master of reframing. No more negative self-talk, no more doubt, no more wussy excuses, no more whining, no more complaining, no more justifications, no more pointing at others, no more, oh my gosh, them and this and that, and I can never do that. Quit it. That has no place in your life. If you want to live a truly abundant life, you've got to be an I can type of a person. I can do this, I can do this, I can learn this, I'm going to be this, I'm making this happen, I'm taking massive action. What? What? That's the attitude you got to have. Period. Now you take that attitude, and the last thing I want to talk about here is anchoring. Now you take this attitude, and now what you've got to do is you've got to learn to anchor it, because I hate to say it, but I'm going to remind you that we are emotional. What happens with emotions is that we go up, and then we go down, and then we go up, and then we go down, and up and down and up and down. So the problem is, right now, you might be fired up from this webinar. You've heard all these 6- and 7-figure earners speak. And you know even 8-figure earners, and you're sitting here going, man, I'm on fire, I'm ready to conquer the world. But how can you keep that? How can you keep that tomorrow? How can you keep that for the week? How can you keep that for the month and for the year? How can you keep that for your life? Okay, so this is a strategy called anchoring to be able to help you keep this. What you want to do is you want to learn to take now this peak, what they call peak state. You're at your peak, you're at your top state, and you want to learn how to anchor that so you can come back to it anytime that you want, instantly with the snap of the fingers. Now, I'm not going to do some sort of hypnosis stuff. We'll let David Wood do all the hypnosis, but which he probably has already done. In fact, I'm probably not even speaking. I'm just a puppet. David's actually controlling what I'm saying here. But the fact of the matter is that you can get into peak state that fast. You could be right in the middle of doing something else, and Aaron Rashkin can call you and go, hey, can you quickly tell your testimonial to this person on the phone? And then, boom, next thing you know, you're like, holy crap, what happened? I got into this state of energy really quick. You want to be able to do that. You want to be able to turn that on anytime that you want. So here's what you do. I'll give you a couple examples, okay? For me, public speaking was something that was, I don't want to say difficult, that's the wrong word, but something that I actually had to have a breakthrough in order to do. When I first started out public speaking, my very first time ever being on stage was to an audience of about 40 people back in like 1999 or something, or 2000, and I actually ended up, I did such a bad job that I was not allowed to speak anymore. Okay, that's how bad it was. Okay, I wasn't allowed to speak anymore. It was like, we're gonna give this guy a shot, and then I just blew it. Okay, so I actually took it upon myself to study, to study this stuff. You know how Lawrence Tam says the average multimillionaire reads like 4 or 5 books a month, and he gave you an aha moment there? What I went and I started studying public speaking books. I did something so crazy as I would actually take speakers that I really liked, like for instance Joel Osteen. Whether you're spiritual or not, that guy can somehow convey a message to millions of people very well. okay, period. And there's lots of people like that. But I would actually take and put him on the TV screen. I'd put it on mute, okay? And what I would do is I would walk around and I would follow his body language, and I would see what's his hands doing, what are they doing here, what's he doing here, how many people, is he getting engagement, is he leaning in, is he leaning out, what's he doing? And I would what's called mirror and model after him. And by mirroring and modeling after him, this built up confidence in myself. And what I was looking to do was looking to create a habit. I was looking to create a habit where when I talked, I learned to move my hands, because when I talked, my hands were always down here. I don't know why. It wasn't a natural thing. You know, for those of you that are like Italians or whatever, you're probably, da, 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 da. Okay, but for me, whatever, it wasn't a natural thing. So I had to learn. So I said, screw this, I'm never getting kicked off stage again. So I went and studied, and I went and came back, and I went and I delivered what I felt was a really good talk. Now, it probably was mediocre at the time, but my improvement was so good that improvement-wise, it was off the charts. I mean, I actually got a standing ovation my second time speaking. So I went from being never allowed to speak again to about 3 months later, I got another chance to speak, and I got a standing ovation in the room at the end of my talk. Okay, so but in that time frame, I mean, I read and studied and listened and practiced and mirrored and modeled and copied and everything. I was writing down jokes. I had a little notepad. Every time I heard somebody tell a joke, I'd write it down and I try to make it my own. I was doing things like figuring out where a joke fit into a story and how to transition. That's how bad I wanted it. That's what you call taking massive action. Now, this is where right now anchoring comes into play. What I did, and I didn't realize how powerful this was, but one of the people I was studying to try to become a good speaker and modeling after was a guy named Anthony Robbins. Now, most everybody, he doesn't need really an introduction, right? It's Anthony Robbins, Tony Robbins. And he said, here's what you got to do. Take your best moments in life. Take the moments that you were the happiest. Take the moments that you had the most joy, the most passion, and I want you to anchor them. And specifically talked about public speaking, so this is going to be anchoring tip number 1 for you. He said, now what I want you to do is I want you to go look at the stage, and I want you to imagine a big red circle, just a giant red circle. And he goes, it's going to be tough, but I want you to like literally like hallucinate it. I want you to actually see it with your own eyes. So he goes, you know, do whatever you got to do. Walk around, figure it. He goes, the way the mind works is trippy. You can actually kind of hallucinate on will if you want to. You can see things, you know, blink your eyes a bunch, do whatever you got to do, you know, stare at a light and then blink your eyes and then look at the stage. I want you to imagine a red circle. Now that's your circle of power. And then what I want you to do is I want you now to go on stage, and I want you to stand in that circle, stand right in the middle of it, and then I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to go back to that time where you delivered a good speech. I want you to go back to that time where you delivered that good speech, okay? And I want you to think about everything about it. What was it? What were you arched back? Were you standing tall? Were you feeling good? Were you feeling great? Were you on fire? What was it that week that led up to it? Were you having a lot of success in your business? What was that feeling like? What was your energy like? What was your jokes like? Get into the moment in that red circle. Okay? Do this 3 or 4 or 5 times, as many times as it takes, to the point where now when you can stand in that red circle, one thought dominates your mind, and that's the memory of that positive thing that happened. Okay? In this case, public speaking. So I did that. So what I would do is all my times that I had to speak after that, I would show up early to the event because I needed practice. Okay, it took time. I show up early to the event. I'd go on the stage. I'd look at where the audience was, and I would imagine a red circle, and I'd go up there and I'd stand in it. So what I would do is when I was asked to speak, and by the way, David Wood knows this to be a true story. It's funny because I actually told David Wood this red circle thing a long time ago that I used in Empower. But what I would do is I'd get in my mind what I want to do. Okay, and then at the end I'd forget about it. I'd let it all go because otherwise I'll get a fear of public speaking. When I walk on stage, I'll forget everything. I'll get nervous. I'll let it all go, and then I trust that I'm going to bring up my emotion. I'm going to bring up my power. I'm going to get my peak power state. Boom! Once I step in that red circle. So when I first get introduced on stage, I walk up, and before I do anything, I look for where my red circle is. I visualize it as well as I can. I go stand in it, and usually people are giving you clap for a new speaker when you walk up. During that time, I stand in that red circle, and I get myself in peak state. Now that I'm in peak state, I sit there and I remember about my best speaking time. I anchor the best time I can speaking, okay? And I put myself into that peak state. As soon as I'm ready, I step out of that circle, and I trust in faith. Now, either a spiritual faith, for those of you who are spiritual, for not, put it in a faith of practice. Put it in a faith that, look, you've put in the work, you've practiced, you're good at your craft, you know you would not be asked to speak if you didn't already have skills, that you didn't already have the knowledge inside of you. So You put it in faith, in a non-spiritual faith if you need to. Just a flat out faith and confidence in yourself. That's what that power circle is about. That's anchoring. So in summary, anchoring is the ability to take this positive emotional experience to be able to plant it where at any given time you can bring that up with a snap of a fingers or a step into a circle. Okay, so that's anchoring on a public speaking level. You can do this anchoring with anything. Think back with your spouse for a minute. You want to revive your marriage? Think back to a moment with your spouse where there was this amazing kindled experience. Maybe it was a vacation, maybe it was a honeymoon, maybe it was just laughter, maybe it was just all these different things. What was this experience like? Get back to that emotional peak state of that experience and do something to trigger that experience. It doesn't have to be stepping in a circle. Do something to trigger that experience. It could be an object. It could be an object that you hold. It could be your ring. Why not plant the best experience? For those of you that are married, plant the best experience of your life. Plant it with your ring. Maybe you twist your ring and you think about that experience. Okay? And what you do is anytime that you want, with the snap of your fingers and the twist of your ring, you can put yourself, you can make your relationship the best that it's ever been in its life, because you can put yourself right back to that moment. And then you go back to whatever it was. If you were in a smiley, giddy, fun mood, you go back to your spouse and you just start doing that, you know, and it's amazing how that works. It's amazing how you can put yourself in a peak state. Now, practical application. We're talking about selling high-ticket stuff, right? And we're talking about how your ability to transfer emotion. Let's go back to Aaron Rashkin and this fake hypothetical situation I set up. If Aaron's trying to sell me a $20,000 product to come to his house for a week, he's already explained the benefits. The benefits are clear. For $20,000, I could potentially double my income, you know, hypothetically. He's not promising that or guaranteeing that. He's just, and by the way, it's not even a real product. Aaron might get a whole bunch of people sending him $20,000 checks after this. I don't know. But, you know, just the value's there. The benefits are there. Now it really comes down to, do I believe enough in myself that I could double my income? Do I believe enough in Aaron that he's got information that I don't have that's going to help me double my income? And do I have the $20,000, or do I have the belief that I could come up with it if I wanted to? Like, if I knew for a fact I could go to $1 million, even if I didn't have the $20,000, give me a break. I'll go get that $20,000. I mean, what are we selling? You know what I'm saying? I'll go sell all my house furniture if I have to. You know, like, dude, if I could double my income this year, go from $500,000 to $1 million, could I go without couches? Could I downgrade and go with just one car instead of two cars while I'm doubling my income? Hell yeah. See, if you believe it, if you truly believed it, you would do anything it took. You know what I'm saying? So do I believe, so let's replay this. Do I believe enough in myself that I can double the income? That's that inner talk. That's that reframing. Do I believe enough in Aaron that he can give me that information? That's Aaron's peak state. That's Aaron's transfer of emotion. You get it? And if I believe both of that, then I'm going to do whatever it takes to come up with the money. So if Aaron can put himself in peak state, he's got his half down. The other half is going to be me and my ability to believe. Okay. Now, if Aaron really wants to do a good sale, he's going to also convince me to believe in myself. Not just to believe in him, but to believe in myself. Because if he can get me to believe in myself as much as he believes in me, and believe in him as much as he believes in himself, and believe that my money and his information can help go back and can put me in a position where I could fly high and make it the best year of my life, that, my friend, is how you sell $20,000 products. And you could do that all day long. And believe it or not, people do. I sold my first $16,000 product, and I couldn't believe, I honestly, that she pulled out a credit card and bought it. I thought to myself, people have $16,000 just sitting on a credit card? Who the hell is this person? Then the second sale, I was like, it was credit card again, and I'm going, holy crap, like, this is not a, there's a lot of people with money that are looking for something. And then once I went through this like weird experience that, oh my gosh, you know, that's just as hard of a sale for me to sell somebody on a $300 product as it was a $16,000 product, and then a $20,000 product. Then I just started selling. And if you remember the webinar a few days ago, whatever, I mean, I just started selling. I mean, it's $20,000. I mean, I started having $50,000 months, $70,000 months, even $150,000 in a single month, because I believed in myself. I was able to reframe the garbage that I was going through, which at the time was bad. 485 credit score, negative bank account, whiplash. I was getting evicted from our house, didn't have internet service, couldn't drive a car. I mean, there's a lot that I had to overcome at the time that I got into high-ticket sales. So I had to overcome that. I had to reframe it. And then I had to anchor the best moments of my life to be able to transfer that emotion to people where they believed enough in themselves and believed enough in me. So in summary here, listen, number one, you're in control of yourself more than anybody. Number one thing you got to do is you got to get your emotional state to a point where you can transfer that to people, whether it's in person, over the phone, over a YouTube video or a Empower video, over your blog, over an email, or just through some automated funnel. You've got to transfer that emotion, and it's got to be real. You can't fake it. You got to really learn how to reframe that. The second part is the customer. They've got to believe enough in themselves, and the more that you can help them with that belief, you're going to make more money. But trust me when I say there's enough people out there that believe. They're just looking for the right leader that believes enough in themselves and having success. Right? That's why a guy like Vic is so successful, because Vic is very, very confident in his ability to create success and very confident in developing systems, and people will buy into that concept. Okay? Same with David Wood. People will look and see David Wood's success, and they know they can ride those coattails. They know there's information in his brain. If they just get around him long enough, they'll be able to get enough of that information and take it to the next level. Belief in yourself is number one. Helping get belief in the people you're selling to is number two. When you get that match together, people will do whatever it takes to find the money. And as a bonus, as part of this product, in a webinar, whenever that is, we're going to also now, once you understand this foundation, we're going to teach you how to come up with over 20 different ways to help them come up with funding. Plus, I'm going to go into detail about how I came up with funding for a lot of different things I needed when I didn't have the money or credit. So it's late. My time's up. I think I'm passing back to He-Man Rashkin. So feel free to interrupt, Rashkin, and always a pleasure to be able to come out on a webinar with all these amazing leaders.
Yeah, great stuff, Chris. And I love what you said. You know, it's really about the transfer of energy from yourself to the person that you're presenting to, because you can't give something that you don't already have. So you've got to have that inside yourself before you can actually project that onto other people. And when they see that they can be successful and you've done your job right and you show them a high-value presentation and a high-value product, that's what people buy. They want to buy from somebody who believes enough in themselves and in the product, because that's really where the transfer comes from. So great stuff, Chris. I'm so excited and glad that you are here tonight. Excellent stuff. Well, here's what we're going to do, guys, because I know it's late, but you know what? There's really no time limit. You know, it's like when people show up to an event and they say, well, when is this going to get started? Well, it started when you showed up. So it's the same thing here. We're just going a little bit longer than most people expected. And we did lay a huge foundation for what's to come here over the next 2 more Hangouts. And if you got some value from this, go ahead and post in the chat box, you know, that this was something that you really got a great amount of value from. Because if you like this one, if you like this first 3 hours of the High Ticket Academy, wait until Hangout number 2. Let me tell you what's coming up. We're going to cover on Hangout number 2 this Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. We're going to be talking about how to lower the resistance and increase the cooperation. We're going to talk a lot about meeting people in their world, on their terms, and in a space that makes them feel comfortable, because that's really how you're going to be able to have that, you know, two-way dialogue and that two-way connection with them. So we're going to cover exactly how to talk to other people, and we're going to also talk about scheduling the conversation, scheduling the call. We're going to talk about the use of assistants, if you have an assistant or if you have a virtual assistant, maybe one of your members or a running partner, somebody that you work with, somebody on your team, or somebody you know, that is willing to, you know, get on the phone and have a conversation with your team, you know, with the members of your team, or the clients or the customers, you know, or the people, the leads that are looking at buying products from you. Doesn't matter what the company or the product is. What matters is that you have somebody that kind of prepares them and conditions them and frames for them the importance and the value of your time. That's how we sell high-ticket product. Okay. We're also going to talk about building rapport. We're going to talk about framing. We're going to talk about the actual presentation. We're going to talk about how do you approach this? How do you have this conversation with a potential buyer of a high-ticket product? You're going to learn a little bit about the offer, about creating buying triggers. We're going to get into voice strategies. We're going to get into objections and how to overcome objections. We're going to talk about takeaways. We're going to talk about asking for the sale. We're going to be talking about asking for the money, and we're going to be talking about asking for the commitment. Because when you can learn these specific things in this whole high-ticket sale, you know, process, this is what's going to allow you to really create the biggest result in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of headaches. So that being said, gang, we have an awesome Thursday night hangout planned for you. And so that being said, I'm gonna see if we can get our fearless leader out here, David Wood. Dave, can you hear us? Dave, can you hear us? Okay, watch this, guys. I got my cell phone. I'm gonna text Dave right now and say, turn to your left. I'm just telling him we are ready for you. All right, funny stuff.
Hey, sorry about that, man. I was just sending an email out to the members here, letting them know why they need to buy. Guys. I'm gonna just sum up with my thoughts really fast, and then we're gonna end this for tonight. I want to make a couple of just announcements for those of you who are attending live. Obviously, these announcements are probably way outdated if you're watching the replay. For those of you who are attending live, the price of this product is increasing tomorrow at noon Eastern time, and so noon Eastern time, a couple of exciting things are going to happen. Number one, people will know that we're actually increasing the price, and they'll take us more seriously before the next increase in the price. Number two, all of you who are affiliates of Empower who are promoting this, obviously this is an affiliate-only message here. If you're not an affiliate of Empower, you're welcome to become one at any time. But those of you who are attending this who are affiliates of Empower, you'll be able to earn additional commissions when we increase the price, which is always nice. And so you'll have bought it at this price and be able to sell it at an increased price at noon tomorrow. What that also gives you the ability to do is to capitalize on last-minute sales. I promise you, those of you who have a list, those of you who are promoting, you are going to be able to get a lot of sales if you just send out an email now and say, by the way, I want you to know the price is increasing tomorrow at noon Eastern time. I want you to go here right now, watch the replay, and this is where you can buy, and just send them to the replay of the webinar that we did the other week. What I wanted to leave you as thoughts, though, is this. I want to obviously let you know the price is increasing. You can promote it. The replay of that last webinar we did is still going to be up till the price increase, at least, on empowernetwork.com/live. What I wanted you guys to know from my perspective is this. Tonight was more of a mindset and kind of a meta strategy perspective on really how we need to be thinking, in order to make more money in our businesses. How do you need to be thinking in your business in order to be able to be in the right mindset when you're talking with people and when you're understanding what you need to do in your own business, when you're investing in your own business, and in order to be able to position yourself to really receive money like an expert. Next week we're going to be really getting into tactical skills. Now, a lot of people, whenever they get into a training, there's always one or two people who say, just get me to the tactical skills. If you just tell me what to do, I'll do it. Don't tell me why. Don't give me the philosophy. Don't give me the background. Just tell me what to do and I'll do it. The reality is, though, that I've learned over a lot of experience, over a lot of years of building this business, that is not true. If you don't understand the why, the how doesn't matter. Whereas if you do understand the why, the how starts to actually become a little bit irrelevant because you're going to arrive at a how along the way. A lot of you, all you really needed to hear from this webinar is that it's possible for you to just get on the phone and to ask for a $3,500 sale, or to ask for a $5,000 sale, or to ask for a $10,000 sale. And if you just get on the phone, people will pull out their credit card and they'll just buy. I had a breakthrough in 2009 when I talked to a guy who was famous for closing sales. And I got on the phone with him, and he told me that he literally walks people to the order page right on the phone and gets them to pull out their credit card and complete their order while he's talking to them live, okay? And I didn't believe him until the next week when he had a live closing training call where he actually was calling his new members and he was calling his leads. He was recruiting them into his business opportunity. He was selling them more expensive products and higher ticket stuff. And I actually heard this guy on the phone close a $1,000 sale. It blew my mind how easy it was, and so I had to try it. So what happened is just the following day, I had a lead come in from a new member who had purchased a product, and I called the person, and all I did was I got on the phone with a different attitude because I heard something that I didn't know was possible. I didn't know that you could just ask somebody to buy and that most of the time they would buy. I got on the phone with a person, and they had just purchased a product. And we're going to get into more of the skills and the how-tos. I'm not going to tell you what I said on this webinar. I'll talk about it next week. but I ran them through this very short process on the phone. It was a 5-minute conversation, and then at the end of the 5-minute conversation, I said, great. Are you in front of your computer right now? And they said, I am. I said, I just sent you a link where you can pull up a screen, and I want you to pull that screen up and tell me when you're there. And they said, okay, I'm here. And I said, on the screen, you see that order form. There's a place to put your name, your address, and your credit card info. And they said, yeah, I see it. I said, all right, go ahead and fill in that form. I'm going to go ahead and grab a glass of water for a second, and I'll be back in a minute while you fill that out. Is that okay? And without questioning it, they said yes, and they put their credit card information and their address and their name into an order form for a product when I was going out and grabbing a glass of water, and I came back on the phone, the person said, all right, I'm finished. And literally all that needed to happen was I needed to have the courage and the attitude to be willing to be on the phone and not ask somebody what to do, but to tell them what to do. And a lot of you guys, that's all you needed to hear from this whole live stream, but a lot of you needed to hear that the reality is that you need to put yourself on the line and you need to make a decision if you expect other people to make a decision. My question, my challenge for you is, are you really even committed in your business? Are you really committed? Now, those of you who are here, you're committed, and that's the great thing about it, is you guys are listening to this information, you're digesting these strategies, and by being here after buying this product and attending this training live, you're demonstrating that you are in this to win this. You are in this in order to make life-changing results. You are in this in order to be able to learn the strategies you need to apply those strategies in your business and actually get a result. I know that's why you're here, because you're attending live and you're still listening after 2 or 3 hours or however long it is we've been on here. The question that I have for you, though, is what message are you sending to your own unconscious mind? What message are you sending to your team? What message are you sending out there on Facebook by the words that you say, by the actions that you're taking, by the financial commitments that you're making in your own business? Look, whether you're in Empowernetwork or whether you're in another business, it's irrelevant. Well, I wouldn't say it's totally irrelevant. I would say it's relevant depending on the context of your goals and your outcomes and your desires and your dreams. But how much are you really committed in your business, and are you really committed in your business? And so here's what I want to do. I'm sitting on this page, and I can see the comments. We've still got 930 people live who are on the live stream right now. I want to know if you have made a commitment that no matter what, in whatever business you're in, you are going to get to the top. You're going to learn the skills that you need to learn to produce the outcome you want to produce. I want to know if you are absolutely, without question, absolutely committed to your business, and no matter what obstacles you face, no matter what financial commitments you need to make, no matter what steps you need to take, no matter what decisions you need to take, you're not going to make excuses about it. You're not going to come up with reasons why you can't do it. What you're going to do is you are going to, without question, do whatever you need to do to show that you're committed in your business. I just want you to tell me that you're committed in the comments here over below the video. Tell me that you're committed and that you're willing to do whatever it takes. That's what I want to know. And what I want you to do, yes, you'll do it. All right, yes, you're committed. Who else is committed on here that you're going to do whatever it takes in your business in order to get the results that you want? Who here is committed that you are, somebody says they're here at 5 in the morning. Don Cope, absolutely. Sue Price, she's committed to her business. Who else here is committed in their business enough in order to put yourself on the line if you need to put yourself on the line? Who here is willing to do that, and you're willing to take those action steps yourself before you expect other people to take those action steps? If you guys are willing to, I'm in the mountain one step at a time. You're committed. Jay, Alex, you're committed. You guys are committed to your dreams and goals. You're committed to taking the actions that you need to take. You're committed to the financial commitments that you need to make in your business. You're committed. That's what I want to know. Right? Here's what I learned. I learned that other people will not commit if you're not committed. See, when people get around me and they feel my energy and they look in my eyes and they hear the energy coming from my voice, and we're going to talk about voice strategies with Aaron Rashkin next week. When they look at me, they feel my energy and they hear the way that I speak, they understand my commitment without me having to tell them about it, because they know that I'm all in my business. They know that I've made the financial commitments in my business that I'm expecting them to make. In fact, I make more financial commitments to my business than I expect anyone to make. Most people who buy this product, for example, they only had to invest $197 into their education in order to learn these skills to go out there in the marketplace and apply this information and to get a result. For me, owning the company, this is significantly more financial commitment and significantly more expensive to put on this product. And in order to be able to broadcast this page, to be able to pay for the developers, to be able to program this product, all the little intricate things that go into this, I want to know if you're committed to your business, committed to getting that outcome. See, now a lot of you guys are saying you're committed to getting that outcome. However, there's a lot of you on here who are customers and who are affiliates of Empower Network who say that you're committed to getting that outcome. However, you're still not all in your business. You still haven't made the commitment to buy all the products that you need to educate yourself on the skills that you need to take your business, whatever it is, to the next level. I want to know on here not who's just saying they're making a commitment. I want to know who's committed financially on here to making the decisions that they're going to do financially, whatever it takes personally, on a personal level inside, in order to get the results that they want in their business. Who here is making financial commitments and that they're going to do whatever it takes? That you've not just made a commitment with words, but you're making a commitment with your wallet. You're showing your unconscious mind with whatever your business is that you're going to get in at the top level. You're going to get in there in all commitment. I remember going to a conference with a well-known trainer in the industry named Danny Johnson, and she did something really interesting because she was somebody that was a generic trainer that was training people in multiple opportunities. And what she did was she had people stand up in the room who were in different companies and different opportunities, and she said, if you're making a commitment that you're going to get in at the top level in whatever company you're in, I want you to stand up and I want you to come up on the stage. See, it's not just about being all in at Empower Network, because this is an educational company to teach you how to do what you want. I want to know if you're all into your vision, if you're financially committed to your vision, if you're willing to take some extra steps in order to personally commit to do the things that you're going to ask other people to do. See, as a leader is not about being a cheerleader. A leader is not about saying, hey, look, this is what this other person has done. A leader is not about being the greatest person ever, and a leader is not about starting with the biggest list or starting with the biggest results or being Vic Strisshouse or being Dave Wood or being Tony Rush or being Eric Rashkin. What being a leader is all about in your business is leading the way by example. It's doing what you're expecting other people to do before you're willing to ask them to do it. It's not being willing to ask other people to do things that you're not willing to do. So if you're not willing to do something yourself, you can't, as a leader, ask somebody else to do it. So in order to ask for a commitment from another human being, you have got to be willing to make that commitment or a greater commitment yourself. Here's my question that I've got for you based on this tonight. Who here is willing to make a greater commitment to your own business than you're willing to ask your team to commit? I want to know if you're willing to make a greater commitment to your business than you're asking. In other words, if you're going to ask your team for a $10,000 sale, you got to be willing to invest more than $10,000 in your own education. Who in here is willing to invest more into your own education than you're going to ask other people to invest into their education? I want to know if you are willing to put yourself on the line, and if you are willing to make the commitment in your business that no matter what, you're getting in not just with your mindset, not just with your words, you're getting in with your wallet. Now that might just be a different thing to say, and it's a different thing to say in a product, but this is a product about how to sell high-ticket stuff. And I know I look a little bit crazy, my hair's crazy because I've been getting ready for this thing all day with Aaron Rashkin. I've also been moving my house here. But you know, the reality is here, there are people on here who are making commitments with their words, but they're not making commitments financially. They're not willing to take the steps that they need to take, and by doing so, what they're doing is they're showing their unconscious mind. What they're saying to their unconscious mind is, I don't believe this will work. I want to know who on here in the comments believes that this will work for them, whatever it is that you're doing. I want to know who in the comments believes that you can get a $10,000 sale, that you can get a $20,000 sale, that you are worthy enough, that you are worth enough financially to where you believe with every intent and with every purpose that you can get somebody to make a decision to commit a 5-figure investment into a product that you're going to sell them. Who in here believes that they can do that? Who in here believes in their ability to be able to do that? Guys, you've got to believe in yourself, and to believe in yourself, you've got to be willing to demonstrate to your unconscious mind, you've got to be able to demonstrate to your unconscious mind that I am willing to do whatever it takes because I know that this is going to work for me. Based on that information and the information that you've heard on this webinar, I want to know in the comments who's made a new commitment to their business. I want to know who's decided to buy an extra product in their business. I want to know who's decided that they're going to get all in their business and that they're going to get into their business at the top level. I want to know who's decided to invest in their future, to invest in your education, even if you haven't figured out how yet. I want to know who's decided that you, no matter what, for the rest of your life, are going to be all in and all committed to every business that you're ever in. I want to know who here has decided right now to get all in. Who here has decided that you're going to log into your back office and to buy the products that you haven't bought yet. I want to know who's decided that you're willing to take this information and to apply it and to always lead by example. I want to know who's decided that in the future, when there's a product that you need for your education, that you're willing to put yourself on the line and invest in that product and invest in your education before you're willing to ask anybody else to invest in that education. I want to know who's decided that no matter what it takes and no matter what obstacles there are, no matter what financial commitments you need to make, even if you can't figure out a way to make them, you are willing to stretch yourself. You're willing to stretch your own boundaries. You're willing to stretch what you believe is possible. You're willing to stretch what you need to do. You're willing to stretch yourself financially. You're willing to stretch yourself spiritually. You're willing to stretch yourself and travel somewhere to learn something that you don't know how to do. Okay, I want to know who's willing to stretch, who's willing to do that now, and not only are you willing to do that, but you're going to do that, and you're making it committed that no matter what, you're going to be all in your own business for your own future, to learn these skills, to take them, to apply them in your own life. Who's willing to do that? You guys got it. So it's me you're talking about. It is you that I'm talking about, Jane. Who else is willing to do it? Who else is willing to make a commitment? Ron Bray, Alan, Burren, right? This is always interesting when we start asking for commitments from people, because that's when people really shine. I want you to make a commitment. Now, last announcement, and then we're going to end this for tonight. Guys, if you're attending this live, and if you're not attending this live, and you're watching a replay in 6 months, okay, then you can ignore this part and just get to the next event. Now, if you're attending this live, we are doing an event in Miami, part of a commitment to your future, and part of a commitment and showing yourself that you are going to do this is going to be getting to that event. There's going to be some important announcements at that event that are going to change the game in Empowernetwork, and I want to know who's committed to go in the comments. And so if you're going to the event in Miami, and hey, if you're in this and you're watching this after Miami already happens, then just write in the comments you're going to the next event. But on this live broadcast right now, I want to know who's going to Miami no matter what, and because you want to meet the people in this product. You want to meet the people who are on this board of trainers. You want to meet the people that are doing the training. You want to meet the people that are creating the results. Who in here, no matter what, you're going to get to Miami. I want to know if you're doing that. Just write, I'm going to Miami. Write, I'm going to Miami in the comments. Miami bound. You guys got it. Doing whatever it takes. You guys are going. Your ticket's bought. You're committed, Regina. Dave, you're there. Elizabeth, you're there. You've got your tickets. You're getting to the next event. Somebody said, I'm in Miami, bitch. Right? Roy's getting to Miami. Freedom Flying, you guys are getting to Miami. I want to know who's committed enough to their future to where they're willing to go to every event. They're willing to put themselves on their line and to travel across the country or to travel across the world or to go to another city that you've never been in before just to be able to get access to information and access to leaders that you never had access before. Not just who's willing to say they made a commitment, but who's actually going to make a commitment that they're going to do it no matter what. See, this is where this training gets a little bit fuzzy for some people, because they say, oh, I understand that you're saying that you've got to show your unconscious mind that you're making a decision, but I'm just going to dip my toe in the water. I'm just going to try it out. Guys, you got to be willing to stretch yourself. You got to be willing to show yourself that you are going to do whatever it takes. And the second you do that, things around you are going to start changing. The second you show yourself that you are committed enough to your future to make the decisions that you need to make in your business. So guys, I will see you in Miami. We will see you back here on Thursday with specific tactical skills on how to close people on the phone and get people to buy more products on the phone. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Miami. And if you're watching this afterwards at the next event, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys on the beaches of the world. And congratulations on being here. Congratulations on attending the training. With that being said, I'm looking forward to coming back and taking even more notes on Thursday. I'll see you guys then.